There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur, or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to...
Boom, boom, boom. We are live Monday night. It's 9 o'clock. It's Jarvis's time. Jarvis and Stu. Jarvis's Corner on Mufc Realist TV. We are back. We are back. Good to be back. Good to be back. And I see a lot of people in the chat already. We have Neil Driscoll in the house. Big up Neil Driscoll. He comes in and say evening, everyone. And we have, of course, Lucky Singh. He has already put in 10 comments. Big up Lucky Singh. Coming into the chat. Thank you for the engagement. Jamie Wayne is in here. Big up Jarvis. Big up Jamie Wayne. Good to see you, my friend. And we have Lee Parker coming in with a little bit of a negative comment, but it's an opinion, so I agree. Same shit, different manager. So it sets the tempo of this show. It will be a joy to be with you guys. I see. Oh, Dave 147 is in the house too. Big up. Dave, it will be a joy to be with you guys for about 2 hours. Let's see where this takes us. We will free throw a little bit. We have a couple of guests joining us. Poppy Power Hour will be joining us soon. And actually one guy we haven't seen in a while. It's Uncle Jimmy, you know, Kobe Mainoo's dad.
Yes.
As we like to call him.
Don't we just?
So it will be great. It will be great. So my good friend, pal, buddy, Mr. Wooly himself. How you doing, my friend?
I'm all right, actually. To be fair, I'm not bad. We didn't have a game this weekend, so I had a quiet one. Just chilled, relaxed, which is good. We've had a tiny bit of snow. Well, a bit of smattering of snow. Not what you would call snow, Jarvis, actually. No. And of course, the whole country came to a standstill pretty much. But we've had some quite bad flooding where we live and in places quite close to us, Tenbury and places like that. And there's been quite nasty flooding. So, not ideal in terms of weather. But you know what? We're still there. Manchester United played at the weekend, so it was great to have the lads back, wasn't it? Irrespective of the results. I predicted 2-0, so it just goes to show what I don't know about football coming true. And
so much knowledge. Don't be shy, Stu. Don't be shy.
Yes, and Lucky Singh's in the house. We love Lucky Singh. Firing shots already, he says Stu. You know what I'm like. I do indeed, pal. But you're good. It's all good. All opinions are good. Mark's in the house as well. Big up, Marco.
Oh, Mark. You, mate.
Yeah.
Good Mark.
I hope your bro's doing well. I think it's Denmark, wasn't it? He went.
New Zealand, wasn't it? Or yeah.
Yeah, good.
It's some Danish club.
A Danish club, yeah. Good luck. Let us know what's happening, Mark, with your bro. Give us a bit of an update on that. So yeah, all in all, you know what? I think it's a good mark. So it's great to hear. Yeah, I'm sure we'll delve into the game.
Yes, we will.
I know at some point, but yeah, do you know what? I'm quite all right. I'm quite happy. I'm quite relaxed. I'm looking forward to Christmas.
Yes, me too. So have you? When do you put up the Christmas decorations in the house of the Woolies?
I'm a 6 days before, 6 days after kind of guy.
Traditional British.
12, there's only 12 days of Christmas, not 24. But look, where we live, there's Christmas lights already up, which is brilliant.
Oh.
And I do love it. I do love to see it. And it's great to see the kids' faces and stuff of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And so I must admit, I had Christmas tunes on in the car today. I've got a couple of travelling days over the next day or two, so I've got my Christmas list out. I'm sure it'd be great to know in the VAR room what everybody's favourite Christmas song is, and what, you know. And if you do play Christmas tunes in your car, what's your favourite go-to tune? I'm sure Trev Wade's got one for definite.
My favorite is always "It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas
Well,
everywhere I go."
yes, yeah, no,
Always
absolutely.
gives me
So
that Christmas
so
feeling.
was that Sir Bing Crosby?
No, I think it's Michael Bublé.
Is it
Yeah,
Bubble? Is it the
yeah,
Bubble?
I think so.
I'm wondering whether Crosby did it
But it's an
first.
old one. I think it's an old
Yeah,
one. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
wondering whether Crosby did it first.
yeah.
Good to know what people think in the chat about that. I like Snow is Falling all
Mm.
around. Merry Christmas, everyone. I love that one. And in the UK, everybody sings So Here It Is, Merry Christmas.
Mm.
Some fun. I've got a couple of Christmas jumpers. I will sport a Christmas jumper, I think maybe next week or the week after. Bob Dylan, Bad Santa. Yeah. I
Ooh,
like
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Driving Home for Christmas. Yeah, that was Chris Rea, I think that was.
Driving home from Christmas. It's a good song.
And of course, Trevor's favourite one is Last Christmas by Wham. I could see him dancing to that now. I bet he draws the old George Michael goatee beard on. Don't you, Trev? Croons away to Last Christmas. Good old Trev. I might do that in my Monkini.
Was it George Michael or was it Wham?
It was Wham. Last Christmas was Wham.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah. Wham.
Do you know the name of the other guy in Wham?
Andrew Ridgeley. Yes. Unfortunately.
Yes, Andrew Ridgeley. Yeah, that's always
he's kind of my era. He's kind of my era. Lilith, don't you worry. You know, everybody does what they want to do over the holiday period. Yeah, it's great for everybody.
Yes. Yeah, well, Christmas is not always easy for everyone, and you know, Christmas. But for me, today I got this Christmas feeling because on the road I saw the Coca-Cola truck.
Yeah, you see, we don't get that over here. So you saw it on the road where you were traveling?
Yes. Yeah, because it's coming to my town now, so it's parked for tomorrow morning. It's a big display with the Coca-Cola truck, and you know,
fantastic. Oh, the kids love it, don't they?
And stuff like. Yeah, it will be funny. Yeah. So
we have a version of it that goes up and down the country, but yeah, it's one of those. Merry Christmas to you, Lilith, as well. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yes.
We should all be feeling the joys of Christmas spirit. The best thing about Christmas, though, is football. It just keeps on coming. So we're playing, I don't know, this team that nobody's heard of on Thursday. We're back at it on Sunday at Everton. Yeah, which is televised in the UK, unfortunately, which is a bit of for some reason. I don't know why. Man City are losing 5 games in a row. Scousers, unfortunately, are winning. And I've got a feeling
unstoppable at the moment.
Salah, yes, unbelievable. And I've got a feeling that Man City play Liverpool shortly, don't they? In the next week. I think it's in the next week or two. I don't think it's this weekend. I know it's in the next week or two, maybe. But love this time of year. We've got games coming thick and fast. We've got 4 games in December ourselves for the mighty tippers. So yeah. Oh, and I've had my 3rd game of futsal. I forgot to mention that. That is, do you know what? The first time I played it, I looked like an absolute tosser because I couldn't get to grips. I was letting it come off the wall, and everybody's going, "We told you it can't hit it can only be in it." And I did it again, and everybody's looking at me going, like that. And I'm like, sorry. Yeah. Have you got a brain? No, clearly. But by my 3rd game, I'm getting much better.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
getting
cool.
much better. Yeah, I love it. I really, really enjoy it. So much so that I went and invested in a pair of specific futsal shoes.
Oh, the
Yeah.
futsal shoes is the most important. You have
Yeah,
to.
I don't like the name
Be
though.
almost like socks with
Yes.
grip.
Yeah, I
It's
don't like the name though because I unfortunately got the Adidas Salars or whatever they're called. It's
okay.
just a bit too close to the.
Mm.
Yes.
But the thing is, the soles have to be right underneath. You can't build up on the sides. So you need it. I used to play futsal, was one of my strengths. I've been always like a technical guy. I've been playing indoor hockey and
Yeah.
futsal. So when I grew up, we always go indoor.
I don't think your microphone's working too well.
Oh, do I have a problem?
I think you've got it sorted now.
Okay, you guys
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah, I can now. Yeah, we couldn't hear you.
Okay, sorry about that. Technical problems. Maybe I have to change
What
this
I
out.
like about futsal is, and I'm not the most skillful footballer. You know, that's not my game. But I quite like the fact that you've got to be able to control the ball quickly and move it quickly. I like that aspect of it. And if you've got a bit of an eye for goal, and you know, we play these like the old hockey goals. I think they're called, aren't they? The old hockey style goal. Really great, really great. Honestly, it's absolutely brilliant.
But you know, futsal is much more technical in a way, but it's also more tactical because you're only it's 5-against-5. When
technically, that's why I'm rubbish. You know, technically, that's why I'm rubbish. I can imagine.
Technically, we always have to be aware, and you move like this always.
Yeah.
So you rotate in a way when you press, and you always go in a unit. Don't go out of your unit, and never press the goalkeeper. Never press the goalkeeper because then you are
absolutely until it comes to me, and then I'm like, oh, what do I do with it? What do I do with it? But no, absolutely, I'm really starting to enjoy it. Really starting to enjoy it. So, so a bit of futsal. So yeah, just looking forward to Thursday, Sunday. Oh, Wan-Bissaka scored.
Oh, breaking news!
Good old. So is that 2-0?
2-0 up.
It must be 2-0 up, then. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Against Newcastle, our rivals, top 4 rivals. So it's a good result for us. Yeah,
it is a good result. So well, let's move on then, Jarvis. I'm going to turn the tables. I'm going to flip the tables this week. The tables are flipped in the VAR room. So we'll start with you, Jarvis, this week. What did you make of Mr. Amorim's?
First of all, Stu, just before we go into the game, I just want to tell everybody who's watching one thing. Smash the like, because we need as much help as we can in this channel to get out to a bigger audience. Right now, at this moment, it's 87 people watching the show. But on YouTube, it's only about 25-30 people. Most people are watching us on Twitter. So if you are watching on Twitter now, come over to YouTube. Just type in UFC Realist TV and you will find us. And for people who are watching us on YouTube, give us a help and go to Twitter. If you see here, we are actually live on Twitter right now. So you can go to Twitter and retweet this and bring it out to the people. So, guys, help the channel, help me, help Stu, help us reach out, because we like to talk to you and we want to engage more people. That would be great. So let's go to the game. The game, yes. For me, I felt right away. We came into the game. We have been going through this hype of Amorim now lately. We all know what we're talking about. It's the hype has been almost too much for me. I think, as we know, United, we love a scapegoat and we love a hero to come in and save us. And Ten Hag has been the scapegoat, the villain, and now Ten Hag comes in as the hero to save us. And I think it's too black and white. It's more of a gray zone, everything. So I don't believe in stuff like this. And I've been skeptical because I know these group of players, and we have been talking about it, you and me, constantly for show after show, months after months, about the ability of the players. I've been for one defending Ten Hag during this period because I believed it wasn't all on Ten Hag. That was a too simplistic answer for the problems. I
Yeah,
thought it was also a lot on the players, and now we saw that we came in and we lacked the quality needed in the players, the material of the players. And so I'm not blaming Amorim because of this performance, but I think it was not good. I think it was really disjointed. I think we didn't look well in a lot of aspects of the game. Then again, our goal was fantastic. How we played out from the back on the right side, the little 1-2 with Bruno and Ahmad. Ahmad running through. We came with a lot of force, a lot of people into the box when the cross came, and we scored a brilliant goal from Ahmad and Rashford, of course, finishing the goal. So there were bits and pieces that was really good, but we need to take a look at these players and figure out. We will see now in the next couple of months if Amorim can change it around, can educate and learn these players how to be tactically, structurally, technically. If they are brave enough, do they have the courage to actually do what Amorim is asking them to do? I thought we saw yesterday one of the biggest problems was our two midfielders, Casemiro and Eriksen, in how they just ran around, not really doing anything. They're not asking for the ball in tight spaces, and we need them to have the courage to ask for the ball in tight spaces, because what Leicester did yesterday, basically what I've been telling you how to press. You cut the pitch in half. You read the trigger points and you push over everything you got on that one half and lock
yeah,
the opposition off. They did it and made it really difficult for us. What I did like was our ability to actually try to play out under pressure. We
yeah.
tried, but the ones who tried was Masraoui, for example, and Ahmad, maybe Bruno. But Eriksen and Casemiro was missing in this part. They didn't ask for the ball. You have to be asking for the ball. You have to be tough enough, have the courage. So this is things I want to see. They have been talking about this in training, but when the game is on, when the pressure is on, you have to be tough enough. So what's your thoughts on that aspect?
Do you know what? I'm pretty there in agreement with you. I thought what was quite interesting last week's show. You kind of you demonstrated how we're likely to play in that 3-4-3 formation. You're absolutely right in everything that you said. And if you remember, I did a bit of a quick fire how I could counter that.
Yep.
Which I shouldn't have done, and I know where you went. I know you weren't expecting it. I shouldn't have done it, but that's how I look at
No,
football.
it's quite fine. Yeah.
And I was quite interested to see that we were both pretty much 100% accurate in our assessment of how it potentially could go down. I think the biggest problem that we had, and I think you've already touched on it in the last, everybody in the chat's touched on it with Eriksen and Casemiro. 100% right. And I think the problem that Amorim had, particularly last week, and with his delay in his work permit, when he was working with players that he had available to train the system, to work at that particular system. So, and then, some of the guys are talking about Dalot's positional play again. I think he was lost. I think Trev made a point on that. I think the guys have made a point, clearly about how lethargic we still are in possession.
Yeah.
And how a dogged, well-organised team of good footballers, not brilliant footballers, but good footballers, can overcome a team of also-rans, maybe. And it was quite interesting to hear Manchester City fans over the weekend start crying about how their team's aged. And that's not something we talk about, the age of our team. And when you look at the players that were playing out there on Sunday, there was age at the back in Johnny Evans. There was age in the middle with our good friends Eriksen and Casemiro. And you can't play those types of players in a game such as Ipswich. because you're going to get overrun by not by quality, but by sheer determination, will, and aggressiveness. And I like that. And people were talking about Rory Delap's kid putting in a couple of elbows, which he did out of order. But I kind of like that he did put a couple of elbows in, because Hoyland and Xerxes didn't.
I love to see something like that too. I love to see some really aggression. So yeah, I mean, we have to be prepared to face stuff like that.
And we didn't do that.
The referee is not always going to save us.
No, correct. And I think it was glaring. I did say to you, I don't want to keep going on about it at the beginning of the season, Jarvis. I did see a place in the team for Garnacho and a 3 at the back. I maintain that. I watched your analysis last night, and you made a point that he's absolutely useless in the 10. And I agree, because that's not his position. And he's too young right now to be able to adapt quickly by changing from a wing play to a 10. And he migrated more out to the wing. We actually, in many ways, if you looked at what we were doing, we almost fell back to our default position again.
Yes.
You mentioned this last night. You mentioned this in a message to me. And our default position is we're lazy. There's no will. There's no desire. There's no aggression. And
I think also the hot potato, the thing, we don't have the courage to keep the ball.
Yeah, there's no courage.
The ball.
And I
play
think
an easy pass to a guy under pressure. We always revert to the long ball, trying to find Garnacho and Rashford in the space behind.
And I think Amorim wouldn't have learned anything apart from, Jesus, you take 5 or 6 of my top players out of this team, and I've got nothing left. So, and that's a worry. I think for him, the worry will be, and I know Lillis has mentioned this on more than one occasion, that you can be superb in training. I've seen it, throughout my lifetime. You can be superb in training, but you can't put it together in matches. And I think Amorim had a bit of an eye opener, and I think he would have been worried Sunday night, and I think his coaches would have been worried Sunday night about what they can do. So I think you'll see a completely different team on Thursday. He's already said he's going to talk about rotation, because and I think one of the guys has already put it in the chat that he spoke about speaking to the media more in 2 weeks than he's ever done in Portugal, and he needs this time to work with the players. I'm wondering what kind of view he will take moving forward. Will he take a brave pill, swallow a brave pill, and sacrifice something so he gets more training time to work with the players? I.e., does he sacrifice Europe? This is only a question, guys. I'm not saying he should. It's a question. Does he sacrifice one of the cups so he's got more training time? If I'm Casemiro, if I'm Eriksen, if I'm Dallo to an extent, if I'm Garnacho, if I'm Rashford, I'm worried. I've not done enough, or didn't display enough to demonstrate any kind of ability to fit into a system that Amorim wants. Now, for me, Rashford would never be a 9, just like I'd never thought Greenwood would ever be a 9, because you've got to have certain attributes he doesn't have. And I'd be very interested. I'd love to have been a fly on the wall this morning at Carrington, and I'd love to know exactly what he said to the players, how he went about making very, very clear to this group of players, that was unacceptable. You don't do that on my watch, and this is going to happen moving forward. Or has he decided, or will he decide to work with these players the way that he works with these players until he gets a chance to get fresh blood in, maybe in January or in the summer? If he can't do what he wants to do between now and January, it'll be a very tough and difficult season. But Rome wasn't built in a day. We know this, Jarvis. But I don't think he was expecting what he saw. You could just tell on his face. You could tell in his demeanour, even before the Ed Sheeran busting. You could just tell on his face that wasn't what he expected. And again, I don't want to dig out Bruno, and I'd love to know what the players thought of the VAR and think of Bruno and his performance. Perhaps Uncle Jimmy, I know he's
yes, we have Uncle Jimmy. I'll just bring him on and just
bring him in. And whether, maybe Uncle Jimmy can give us. Buddy, good to see you.
Big up.
Yeah, give us your opinion on Bruno. What you felt of his performance? I'm on the fence with it again. I don't know.
Yeah, I have to say, I would probably say I'm on the fence because, I don't know, just a bit indifferent for me, you know. I thought, because I think my expectation of Bruno keeps changing from week to week, because I expect Bruno to be one of the kind of pioneers of whatever system Amorim's going to try and implement in this team, and I expect him to spearhead that, and I don't feel like maybe he's ready to do that. Maybe he's maybe still dealing with his own personality on the pitch, and maybe he's just not ready to kind of be that person who can lead this pack. And because I don't think he should be captain, really, to be honest. Just mainly because I think it puts him under pressure to act on certain things that happen on the pitch, and I feel like he needs that responsibility taken away from him. Maybe he'll play better then, but all in all, just a bit indifferent, a bit on the fence.
Yeah, it was. I'm kind of with Uncle Jimmy on that, Jarvis. It was a difficult one to. Like I said, I don't want to dig him out, but I would have expected something a little bit better from him under Amorim's.
Yeah, but he was more disciplined yesterday, I believe, and he didn't lose the ball as much, and I think he tried to play it simple in a way. He didn't try the hero ball too much. So I think this will be difficult for Bruno to transition.
That begs the question. I was about to ask you that. That begs the question then. What you said, I totally agree with. So where does he fit in as a footballer then?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that's the dilemma for Bruno right now at this moment. Where can he utilize his strengths in this system? And it's for him and Amorim to figure that out. But I think we need to.
It's a great question. It's a great question, you know, and that's the type of thing that will always get missed. I think it's a brilliant question because if we don't like the Hollywood balls, which we've spoken about, we're not a fan of it, and yet he's not particularly effective as well as a short game player. So he's not a long game player. He's not a short game player. Where is he?
It was much better when he played in the second half. Great. As the number 10, I think it was kind of useless. He didn't get involved into the game. But as the number 8, I think he was much better, and maybe this is his position. And I think the balance was more right for in the midfield. You know, Eriksen, Casemiro, they lack mobility. They didn't have the courage. When we put on Ugarte and Bruno, I think we looked a lot better, much more balanced, and Bruno got more involved into the game. So I think going forward, that will be the solution for.
You think you'll go with Ugarte, Bruno, maybe
use Bruno as the number 8. So Bruno just have to fight it out with Kobe Mainu in that position.
No, totally agree. What did you? I mean, I thought, again, at the beginning of the season, I was expecting Erik ten Hag to go with two up top, Xerxes and Højlund. We only saw maybe 15, 20 minutes of that, and they just didn't connect at all, did they?
No. I don't think so. And I think Xerxes is a good player, but I think it's difficult for the other players because he takes his time on the ball, and we are not used to players taking their time on the ball in this Man United system under Ten Hag. It was always rush, go on, find the space in behind. So in a way, I think we will struggle figuring out how to utilize Xerxes at his best. But I think Xerxes is a good player, but can't quite see him doing this in Amorim's system, but time will tell. You know, he's still young, so he can adapt.
Here's a curveball for you then. Would you try him as an 8?
Well, then it's back to mobility.
Yeah.
If he can show us that he has the mobility, he has to move his legs all around the pitch and be able to do that. And I don't think he's good enough. You would expect a guy that size would be better at shielding the ball, but he's too open. He's too open when he uses his ball.
He's quite easy to mark. He's quite easy to mark.
Yeah,
he's got his back to goal. You made a great point last night on Nuridan's show. Hi, Robert. About Garnacho not got a hope with playing with his back to goal. I mean,
no,
he doesn't, and you're right. But Zirkzee, for a big lad, could really open his shoulders up. He really could keep his arms tight, open his shoulders up, make it really difficult.
But I think again, it's about connecting with the defender, as we have been talking about.
Yeah, it is.
Because you have to connect, you have to know where you have the defender to be able to control him.
See, a good player like that, Troy Dean is very good at it. He used to open his shoulders up like that and then grab the player shirt.
Yeah, so you grab them like this. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you, as a defender, you've got to come down with your elbow to knock him off because you've got to get some kind of purchase on it. Because if you're trying to wrestle him like, hand to arm, it's very difficult. You've got to try and knock him away like that. Try and do that. But I'd love to see Zirkzee come alive in a game and be dominant in a game. But the issue is, what do you kind of, like you said, what do you do with him? And then I looked at Højlund again, and he was like I don't know, a fish out of water to an extent again. And I'm bothered by that.
Who? Garnacho?
No, it was Zirkzee shoe. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I see the
Zirkzee, isn't it? Zirkzee, isn't it, Mr. B? I keep pronouncing it wrong.
Yeah, Zirkzee, terrific. Said
but
you comes in with an uppercut. Zirkzee is crap, Jarvis. Yeah.
No,
so far, what we have seen so far.
You can't argue against that with Neil. You can't argue against it. Neil knows I would, but you can't. You can't argue against it. I'd love to see something from him. No, I was talking about Højlund again. I didn't see much from him.
But you mentioned one thing, Stu, that's interesting, and that's the age of the players, because you said you talked about I think it was Garnacho. He's too young to adapt into that position. We all remember, for example, Ryan Giggs used to be a winger, but he adapted in age. Being more in age, because you learn the game by playing it. You get more experience, and then you can play other roles. And it takes a little bit of time. And I think you're right when it comes to Zirkzee, when it comes to Højlund, Garnacho, they are quite young still. And they are constantly on with new managers all the time, and it's difficult for them to learn new systems and adapting to new roles. And I think we just got to be patient. We saw Uncle Jimmy's back. Big up again.
Big up. Sorry about that.
I think we saw this thing. He came on with in the quotes with Amorim, and he said it's hard for the players in 3 days to try to cope with everything, but we have 2 ways. We forget about the new ID and think that's why I was brought here in the middle of the season, and try to cope with what they are used to doing. And next year, at the same stage, we will be here with the same problems. Or we start now, we risk a little bit, we suffer a little bit, and next year we will be better at this point. So we have to risk a little bit. And this is what I like. We can sit here and say, Garnacho is terrible in the 10 and, stuff like this. But I think we are at the stage where you just have to risk it. We have to just let them.
I mean, you have to learn. You've got to learn walking. You've got to learn while you're walking and you're running in football. He made a great point, didn't he? In his interview, there's I shouldn't have to coach players to be in certain positions. They're all professionals, should know.
Yeah.
I speak about that. I've spoken about that for years.
Yeah, I've said that many times as well.
Yeah.
I've said that many times.
Yeah, you have. We've been on the same show when we, when we, and that's absolutely correct. You shouldn't. Like you say, there's no courage, is there?
It's not that, you know, the I think the one of my, I've personally been quite shocked actually by how conclusive some of the tweets have been from the fan base, because a lot of people have already absolutely decided that, right, he's going to have to abandon this three at the back, he's going to have to abandon this, and he can't do that. Why is he doing this? Why is he first match in charge? This is his first match in charge.
Sorry, Jimmy. I'm just laughing at Poppy coming in eating.
Sorry, Uncle Jimmy. I was trying to get Pappy. I was trying to get Pappy with a spoon in his mouth.
But no, you know, the first match in charge. A lot of people think, oh, you know, I'm saying, well, no, it's not going to work straight away. Of course, it's not going to work straight away. We know that. That's very obvious. But my point is, yes, maybe that's not Ahmad's position. Yes, maybe that's not that player's position. Maybe that's not. But he has to try all these different combinations and positions for these players, because it's the only way that you identify what weaknesses players have got. You identify weaknesses by putting players in maybe in slightly uncomfortable positions and systems, and that's when you get to know who can adapt to certain systems, who can adapt to certain moments in the match. We know for a fact that that's not Ahmad's position. Of course, does anyone really think that Amorim doesn't know that? Does anyone really think that Amorim's made this conclusive decision that that's where he's going to play Ahmad for the rest of his time at Manchester United? Of course not. He's trying to see what these players can do, and he's trying to see what these players cannot do. Yes. So the only way he's going to know that is by playing these players in these positions that we might think, well, what the hell is he doing there? That's how you find out. So you have to try these things. And guess what? The second game might be even more painful. The third game might be even worse. But in doing so, he's going to start to identify key strengths that these players have got. And then before you know it, he's then going to have to start making decisions about what's best for that player based on what he's seen in the last 4, 5, 6 games. And people are just going to have to get used to that. I expect the English media to be as harsh as they've been with Amorim, because it's Manchester United, and that's what drives the clicks. That's what drives the interest in any stupid stories that they write. If it's negative about Manchester United, it's going to get all the clicks on the internet. It'll break the internet. That's what happens with Manchester United. So I expect that from the media, because the English press, you have to remember, the English sports media, football sports media, is full of ex-Liverpool and Newcastle players, right? A lot of these people, Manchester United traumatized their childhoods. You have to remember, this is, you know, people don't realize our club traumatized. We ruined careers. Manchester United ruined careers. We ruined managers' careers. We ruined clubs. Clubs have been sold because of Manchester United. Managers have been sacked because of Manchester United. We've damaged so many people's careers. This hatred that they have for us is ingrained in the culture of the English football world. This is not some surface hate that we get. This is real, you know, it's deep-rooted hate for Manchester United that the English media have got. And it's just always going to be there. So I expect them to be negative. What I don't expect is Manchester United fans on day one of Amorim being in charge of this team just absolutely annihilating the way that they have online. It's been absolutely shocking to me. Yes, criticize what you want to criticize in the individual players, whatever you want to do, but to say, well, he's going to have to dump this three at the back, it's like, Jesus Christ, first match. I mean, people were tweeting 25 minutes into the match, what is he doing? This three at the back is not going to work. This ain't going to work. I said, Jesus Christ, man, give the man a break. Give the man some time to try things that he needs to try to identify what he needs to identify. And it's going to be difficult.
The problem is, Jimmy, we follow the club so tightly that we know this already. We know a lot of these things, you know, and I'm not going to sit here and say that I know more than Amorim, but in a way I think I do, because I've been following this club, and you have been following this club. Poppy have been following this club so closely for years after years. We know about these players, you know, and that's the thing. and I think that frustrates a lot of the fan base in a way, because we know that he can't use Garnacho in the number 10. Like he won't, he will never work in that position. He's too set on the winger. But I agree, and I see the United Football Way coming in with a great comment. He says he's testing the players to get an idea which state they are in now. And I think he makes a laughing emoji after it, but it's true. I think actually that's what he's doing, and that's what you were saying, Uncle Jimmy. He's testing the players. He needs to figure out what's going on. Can they do it?
And to add
I
on to
think he
that,
learns.
Jarvis, I think to add on to what Jimmy was saying as well, I think the part of the teething process that we need to go through is, him giving the players an opportunity to say whatever. Garnacho at number 10, right? It doesn't end here, this experiment. You might see him Garnacho again at number 10. You might see him another 2-3 matches, because he has to get the opportunity to receive feedback, see how to implement the feedback he's receiving. So this process is going to be a long, bumpy ride. And I love the comment that Stu brought up, that I'd rather take short-term like pain right now for long-term gain, as opposed to just going through instant success, because we've been through this where we have a good bounce from Oli or a good bounce from a new manager, and that bounce is unfortunately false information. You can get lost in the sauce of like enjoying that, but the moment you actually have the ability to know where you truly are as a team, that's when you can start to actually build and see what next steps to take to move forward, because it's not based on a false like hope. There's the other aspect too of sometimes learning something new is not as easy when you have learned something that was bad before. So like you have to go through the process of unlearning to relearn. And the point in the conversation just about 10 minutes ago when we were talking about Bruno, some of that was muscle memory, when you see like somebody trying to get in behind quickly and that looking for an easy solution, easy way out, because it's the type of football we've been playing for a very long time, and now that has to be slowly eradicated, and that takes time. It's not going to be an easy ride. It's not going to be an overnight thing. It'll take a lot of time and a lot of trial and error from the coaches and from the players. So yeah, I just needed to add that to that point of view.
Great comment, Poppy, and Jimmy always speaking facts about what's going on in the club, and I like your point of view. Jarle Malmin, big up my Norwegian friend, comes in and say Amorim out. What was that? Joking, of course. Amorim is playing his way, and I like that. It will take time, and it's the reason why I will not expect much until the summer transfer window. And I think that's a sensible take on the current situation. I think we just have to lower our expectations. I don't think we will be in a top 4 battle this season. At best, we can qualify through the Europa League. I think we have still a chance in the Europa League. But I don't know, guys. What do you think? How should Amorim approach this? Should he use the league to improve, or and put all his bets on the Europa League to qualify, or how do we get enough points and wins?
For me, when I look at because I don't think he's going to panic, because I think people expect him to panic and like all of a sudden just drop all his principles. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's gonna stick to his guns in terms of. Not just everyone's obsessed with the 3 at the back thing. I don't think really that's not sort of the main point for me. But I think he's going to insist in playing his way of playing. I think if you look, there was a lot of emphasis on controlling the ball, keeping possession of the ball. There's quite a lot of emphasis on that. There was a lot of emphasis on keeping the ball moving as well. So you look at the players, we saw a lot less of the standing around waiting for the ball to come to you sort of thing. They were all following the ball, and they were sort of all trying to keep the ball moving, which is good. So I think he's going to keep those principles going, and I think he should. And I think he should. I don't think he's going to panic into. I think what he's going to have to do, though, this is really important. He's going to have to learn to separate the press and the football. He's going to have to learn that really quickly, because
Yes.
the press can bring it down. Even when you're starting to make progress, it's quite easy for the press to just knock everything off with one article. So he's going to have to learn to be strong about separating the two. Keep the football at Carrington, keep the press, in the press conferences, and he's going to have to learn to do that quite well. Otherwise, if he combines everything as one big affair, I think he's going to, he's going to lose morale quite quickly. So I think he needs to be careful with that. So I think that's going to be quite important.
Yeah.
I think he fills the hole with 5 in the middle. Three at the backs was never going to be a problem. The type of profile of play that we got, 3 at the back, De Ligt, Joro, Martinez, when they're all fit, that's a perfectly balanced 3.
Yeah.
And then it's really who you play as your wing backs. Mazzari, a bit of a no-brainer for us at the moment. It's Mazzari +1. Your middle 3 will be the key, because you're relying on your third, your highest forward 8, whoever that is, to then complement the 2 up top. Now, having 2 up top, and I've gone through this before, is absolutely perfect, because you can stretch the 2 centre halves, give the 2 centre halves something to worry about, not the fullbacks all the time, because really fullbacks should meet fullback. If you look at the first goal, our goal yesterday, you may have seen it, you may not have seen it. Ahmad was actually running into a bit of trouble until Leith Davis decided to push him in the back. And as he pushed him in the back, then whoever was coming in to make the tackle missed it. And it was like one little push in the back that allowed Ahmad that extra 2 yards that he needed. Now, that's because Ahmad attacked from his wing-back position. He attacked, although he didn't attack from deep, he attacked from about a third of the way up in our half.
Yeah.
Puts the afterburners on, gets a little bit of a look. It's a little push by Leith Davis. You watch it, Jarvis.
Yeah. We saw it.
Gives him, and then obviously the goal goes from there. When you look at possession after that, and our position after that, and the way that the Ipswich adapted to our middle 3 or our middle area, that's when it became more difficult for us. I'm not saying we're overrun in the middle. I'm not saying we're outplayed in the middle, but we were outthought and we were outmuscled on occasions. And these are by players that, again, you wouldn't specifically... Would you go after Leith Davis? Probably not. He might make Villa, Tottenham maybe, but maybe not Manchester United and our pomp. That's what I'm kind of getting at with the types of players that they've got. But they know what they're doing, and they know how to unsettle an opposition. And I think Jimmy and Pappy are both right. And as much as I would stick, if I'm Amorim, I'm sticking to my principles, and I'm walking in there and I'm telling them, tough, this is how you're going to play, and you're going to adapt, and you're going to have to adapt quickly, because if you don't adapt, then somebody else will come in and will adapt. That's what you have to do. You've got to do that in football. You can't allow people to, as you quite rightly pointed out last night, Jarvis, on Nuruddin's show, go back into default mode. That's fucking unacceptable for an elite footballer, or what we class as elite footballers. It doesn't happen at Liverpool.
No.
This
is what I always say. It doesn't happen anywhere else.
No, I don't think Arne Slot's done anything particularly transformative, really, at Liverpool. But they know what they're doing, don't they? They know how to play. They've got a good success. Our players have been... And somebody asked a question, and I've started actually for later. They asked the question about, are £700 million with the players lazy? And we'll go into it in a bit more detail. And I don't think it's necessarily that they're lazy. I don't think it's necessarily anything but a will to win. They just don't have a will to win that I don't find acceptable. That's all I'm bothered more about. And I know you haven't been on for a while, Jimmy, and Pappy in particular knows my viewpoint. And Pappy's always given me a nice, friendly, not argument back, but a point of view back that, hold on, the coach has got, and Yarl and Mamin as well, has got maybe 50% to do with it, and the players have got 50%. I think we've tipped over to 60, 70% in the players when you consider the type of performance, and Jimmy, you've already spoken about it, the type of performance we saw Jarvis was not critical, but very vocal about it in last night's show. Pappy's been, I've seen a couple of Pappy's shows today, and again, he's been quite critical about players. Now, if you're getting punched in a corner of a ring, okay, and let's face it, after 20 minutes, we were getting a kicking, weren't we? A physical kicking from Ipswich. And you don't come out fighting, what's going to happen? You end up on your fucking arse.
Oh, you're going to fold over every time.
Yeah, you're going to go through the ropes, you know, and you're not going to get back. So if I'm Amorin, I'd love to think that he said, sorry, lads, you can kick, scream, chuck any amount of dummies at the pram you like, but this is what we're going to do. But I think we're better off with a 5 and across the middle than a 4. That's just my opinion.
They should. I think another sign for me, the players should be worried. If you look at Amorim's already insistent on bringing as many players from the academy as possible into the fold. You know, so he's already been looking quite keen to get as many bodies into the dressing room as possible. Now, if I'm a player in the dressing room now, I'm thinking, you know, I don't want some kid coming and taking my place in this team. You know, I would, but that's, for me, that's how I hope the players will look at it, because they should be worried. Some of these kids are quite promising. There's a few lads that could, you know, just because a lot of young players just need that one game. You know, they get that one match, you know, that 1 15-minute appearance, and before you know it, they've taken someone's place. You know, it's happened a lot before at Manchester United. So yes, I think the players should be worried by that as a sign, but also a lot of, you know, leaked news about players that Manchester United are going to start considering in January. That's a sign again to be worried if you're a player there, because you know, you're hoping that, you know, the club are going to say the players are playing well enough, let's not worry about it in January. Let's visit the transfers in the summer, because if the club are leaking these news about, you know, these attachments with these other players that we might be interested in, maybe it is because that the club are assessing the squad and they're not happy with the squad. They know that the squad's not good enough, and it's up to the players to say, look, no, just not in January. We can manage this season without any additions into the squad, but it's up to the players to do it. And yes, you're right. I think we are tipping over to 60-70% on the players, because even under Ten Hag, there was some performance where you think, well, the system worked perfect. It was absolutely fine. You know, the team created 16, 17 chances in some games. And you think, but they haven't scored. That's not the manager, is it? This is the team. The players should be scoring those goals.
Facts.
So, you know, so yes, I think we are tipping to that 60-70%, and it's sad to see that, because you know, 2 years ago, a lot of these players I thought were turning things round themselves. But now they've all seemed to have gone backwards, a lot of them, again. So I'm thinking, well, we can't keep changing managers. It's not. This manager's going to have to be strong and say, lads, this is how we're going to play. There's no other way to play. This is how it's going to work. And if you can't do it, goodbye.
You're speaking too much sense, Uncle Jimmy. I think I have to remove you, because this is too much.
We've got some gifts.
We have some gifts from the one and
exchange classes.
Want to play, gifted
Want
10
to play.
gifts,
thank you.
membership. So thank you, my good friend. Want to play. I'm trying to find the. Oh, here it is.
Oh my God!
Yes, maybe I might have to blow my
Oh God! That was brilliant. That was nicely timed.
Thank you for saving me.
Well, because that is abysmal, Jarvis. I mean, that's worse than ever. That is.
Yes, it is. I know. But we have new members: DZ coming in, Mark Parks, John James, SportX, Mel, David Chain or Chan, Levy, Giorgio B, old-time follower of the channel, Peter Collins, and Jonathan Hennessy, as like whiskey Hennessy.
Oh,
I don't know if you tried it,
It's
but
a
it's
very
quite
nice
good.
whiskey as well, Hennessy. Very nice.
It is. So, congratulations on the memberships. Thank you, Want to Play, and welcome to the club. Maybe Mick will make some membership content soon, and you get the green badge in the chat. So now you are one of the chosen ones. So
Yes.
remember to thank Fun to Play in the chat. I see DZ coming in and say a big thank you to Want to Play.
I
So
think Von der Play is a fellow Norwegian, Jarvis.
maybe he is. Maybe
That's what. Here we go. Oh, I've lost it. Hold on. Where's it gone? Oh, crikey. We keep getting comments and I keep losing. There you go.
Nah,
I've got to say, I like that comment. I like that Onana comment because I mean, how brilliant has he been? He's been so good. You know, he's been a real force at the back, and I think not good just in terms of the saves that he's made because he's made some really important saves, but I feel like the defenders trust him enough and it allows him to play out a little bit more. So because they've got that faith in him, and I love that. I think he's at a place now where the defenders trust him enough. I'm hoping that when Euro come back, he's got that good relationship with him as well, because I think the link up between him and Euro will be a really good way to start playing forward because Euro's really good on the ball. So I think that's going to be quite an important relationship. So I hope.
But do you think Euro will be the one playing centrally? Because we saw yesterday that the Lick was.
I think so. Yeah, I think
moving
so.
up to the midfield when we were playing back.
That's why I think
back three.
That's why I think their relationship is going to be really important. So I think he'll be the one playing centrally. So I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. But he's been really important. Onana, really good, brilliant.
That's what he's been brought in for, Dan, is to carry the ball.
Like I came across a stat from I think Statman Dave that said like Onana has prevented 4.1 goals, more than any other goalkeeper in the Premier League so far this season. Like the way the turnaround he's done is just so incredible, and I think we should really put some respect on his name, considering like how his shaky start started at Man United. This shows that he has that elite mentality as well, and the mistake will happen. It will happen at some point. He's not going to be perfect, but
Sunday.
It's just one of those things that I believe, like how important a goalkeeper position is. You make the mistake, you concede the goal, and then
still, Pappy, I was amazed to see that after your contestants on your quiz Friday night didn't realise he kept the most clean sheets. I'm like, do you not watch
people
football?
Got it wrong, Do
you not watch football? You don't have to be Man United fan to realise that.
I know.
I had a bit of a giggle on that one, pal.
Guys, when we're talking about Onana, and everyone is praising Onana at the moment because he's doing well, obviously. But for me, I think, why is Onana suddenly doing well? Because last season he was, he had some good games, some bad games. Now he's consistently performing. Why do you think that's the case? What happened?
I'll tell you something, Jarvis, for nothing, right? We played 9 league games this season, okay, and I reckon, and I played 8, by the way, I was missing one, and I reckon I've only played what I would consider well in 2 of those 8 games. So 6 of those games I've been pretty substandard, and I couldn't exactly tell you why, but I know within myself that I've been quite poor. My passing hasn't been crisp enough, or I haven't won the headers that I would normally win, or I've let somebody drift off my shoulder and I haven't pulled him down or done something, and I know that my game isn't right, and I've managed to play myself back into some kind of form now. Maybe futsal's helped me again. I've come back into some kind of form, but sometimes, I know this is sound really strange what I'm about to say, but sometimes as a player you just can't put your finger on as to why it isn't working for you at that particular time. What is it when you walk out on that pitch? You're maybe not as confident for some reason. You might have butterflies in your stomach when normally you wouldn't. You're like cast iron in there. There's just sometimes something will get on you and start niggling away at you, and you just don't perform. And I think maybe Onana had a slight issue. And again, I could be way off base here. Maybe we all looked at him and thought the guy's unflappable. But actually, maybe he's not. Maybe a bit of criticism hurt him and he started to get uptight. And sometimes you do get uptight in a game.
Yeah.
And you've got to take a deep breath and you've got to relax. And there's been times last season where he never had that breathing space. Every time the ball went forward, it came back. And they got
precisely what I want to say as well.
Like, sorry. Yeah, go for it, Pappy. Yeah.
If you notice this season, I think in general, there's something that even though whatever the previous manager, he's gone and everything, but like we were defending a lot better as a team and not facing as many shots. If you remember last season, we spent a majority of last season facing. I think there was a time when Onana had made the most saves than any goalkeeper in the league, or faced the most shots. Matter of fact, when you look at the stats from 23-24, he finished the season with 149 shots, 149 saves, right? That's Onana's saves last season in the Premier League. But this season, you would be surprised to know that even David Raya has had to make more saves than Onana. Sanchez of Chelsea has had to make more saves than Onana. So it clearly, there's something important here that, like, even though it's a team sport, all the action was faced on Onana. It was just like, how do you get excited about work when you know that you're the one that's going to be working the hardest and other people are not doing their job? So right now this season, I think I'd attribute it to another thing also being settling in. He's had an opportunity to settle in. When it's your first time in a new club, new environment, there's some things that you have to get used to. And Onana has kind of gotten into a rhythm and feels a little bit more at home. That's just my speculation.
Someone is calling, by the way, but I think you are right. I think you are onto something, Poppy, when you said the defense is playing better, but we got to remember it's about the center back partnerships. Last season we had a lot of injuries, a lot of different center back partnerships, and of course, obviously, it affects the goalkeeper. They are your main men when it comes to defending the goal, and you have to be able to rely on them. You have to know, you have to talk to them, you have to communicate, you have to know what type of where to block where they block the goal, because as a defender, as a goalkeeper, you don't defend all of the goal. You make the defender defend one part of the goal and you do the other part in a way. So, and he was used to it when he played in Inter, because you had Bastoni, you had all these Italian center backs. They were doing it, and they relied on each other. But now
they were solid at Ajax, weren't they? Because you had De Ligt and Blint or whoever was.
Yeah, that's true. So I think consistency in the centre back partnerships helps out Onana tremendously, and it's not always about the goalkeeper. But he has a couple of mistakes, and he had been able to take them away. Yeah. So I think it's been much better now. So kudos to Onana. I say Yalem Almin comes in and say Onana is close to being the best goalkeeper in the league. Wow. He has had some mad saves this season. And in a way he has, and he reminds me more and more of the great Dane we used to have in goal, Peter Schmeichel. I don't know if you remember yesterday, you saw a couple of times he came out in that star formation.
The star shape, yeah.
As Peter Schmeichel used to do. So, I love
it. What a keeper. Jarvis, we've got 20 gifts from... let me tell you, United Football Way.
United Football Way.
Get that up again.
Oh my God!
Woo!
Go on, give it a go. Let's see if we can hear it this time.
Where's the whistle? Where's the whistle, Jarvis?
The whistle. Come on, then.
Special effects.
Quality.
Gifted 20 members. Do you want to read them out, Stu, or should I do it?
I haven't got them up. I'll have to get them on my phone, so I'll let you do that.
Okay. It's 20 of them. So we have Amin, Antidote, Prince Bot, Jim D65. or
Anti-who? Antidote?
antidote.
Oh, very cool.
Dave Taylor, Dirk van der Heuvel, Shirksir Bannierier. Sorry for slating your name. You know, I'm terrible at this. Bassmaster Down Under. Yeah, that was a cool name.
Yes.
Natasha Burton, The Montana Zombie, Rosin, Les Ward, Temes, Chris H, Dave 147. Big up, Dave. Finally, you got a membership.
Please,
Rebel
go on,
Bakir,
yes.
big up. Madhouse got a membership. And
Woohoo.
Jarvis Corner got a membership.
Why did Jarvis get one?
Rachmano, all the legends is coming out now with membership. So thank you, the United Football Way. So many legends got a membership. Thank you. We appreciate it really, and we need all the help.
I can't believe that. I didn't get one.
Football Way, thank you, and people.
Smash a like. Really smash that like, because we're only on 42 likes. I think there's 162 watching in total, and I can't believe it.
No, I don't want to read them out again.
He's a brilliant troll, isn't he, Trev? I'd just like to say congratulations on your membership, Jarvis.
You know,
You like seeing Jarvis
like 50 memberships. I will sit there all night reading out.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have mentioned Jarvis's name if I'd seen it. Someone, I don't know who he is. I never heard of this character. We won't read him out. I can't pronounce his name. Can't believe it. What is all that about?
Common people. I have some things I want to bring up. We have this one. You were going to bring that out in the question. Yalaman Min, interesting comment here coming in and say, I would love to have been the fly on the wall in today's pre-training meeting. Some players would have been schooled for sure. Xerxes did a heel kick. You could see Amorim rolling his eyes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Amorim would have gone to town on these players, and kind of made it clear to them that's just unacceptable. It's not what we need.
But who do you think Amorim gave the rough treatment today? Do you really
probably?
think
I don't think he would have singled anybody out. I think he would have gone in on the team and not an individual player. I think next time, Friday morning, any mistakes, then you're going to see some people get singled out. But I think probably he's gone in and he's done the collective today. It's normally what happens when you have a new manager in and things don't go well for you. You normally get the collective bollocking first, and then, but he might look at you as he's giving the collective bollocking. So you're kind of like going, oh shit.
I think the players are aware if you make mistakes. I think and
you do. Like, I always say, when I'm coaching, I always say to the youngsters, don't have a pop all the time, because that person will know he's made that mistake. But on the same token, don't let him off the hook. You've got to find that balance. I can be pretty brutal. Somebody's made a mistake, and then 2 minutes later, I've made a mistake, and I'm waiting for it, and I get it in the net. Somebody once said to me, right, we're on tour in Portugal about 3 or 4 years ago, and we're in the semi-final, and I made a bit of an error of judgment. I decided I was going to progress with the football. I got dispossessed by this little Portuguese player, and he was a lot quicker than me, and the goalkeeper saves it, puts out for a corner, and he's absolutely lambasted me, and I've not looked at him because I know, what's going on, and you kind of get on with it. And one of our players who doesn't play football a lot came up to me at the end. He said, "Why didn't you say anything? Tell the keeper to fuck off." I said, "Why? I made a mistake. He made me, made it clear that I made a mistake, and rightly so. You've got to, that's part and parcel of football, and I would imagine that Amorim did it in the right way. I'd imagine Amorim did it in the right spirit, but I bet you those players were left under no uncertain terms. This morning, that was just not anywhere near what he expected."
Mm-hmm. We have someone in the back room.
Yes.
Are you ready? Should I bring you on?
Oh, here he is. Naridian's back.
There it is.
How we doing,
Big up.
guys?
Yeah,
good,
good. Big up, big up.
Yeah. So did you hear the conversation and
No, I've just come back in.
okay. Yeah. So maybe you want to speak a little bit about what we talked about yesterday about the press conferences about the Amorim's workload. We saw today that it came out that that Amorim is going to talk to his press secretary and will only do interviews before games and after games. That's a relief in a way, don't you think?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Manchester United is a circus, isn't it? It's the circus.
Yeah, it is.
And the demands that are made. And actually, those of you who are not in the UK, Sky has a massive stronghold. They do what they want. You know, they can go and send a reporter out on to disrespect his Sporting Lisbon kind of like Sporting Club. That's what they don't like to be called, Sporting Lisbon. They like to be called Sporting Club. Apologies for Sporting Club fans. And he can then demand him to speak English in the middle of the press conference, which has nothing to do with Manchester United. So this is who Sky are. This is what they think they can get away with, and this is what they can do. So, I mean, you saw his face when Ed Sheeran walked into his interview. It just shows you, And at the end of the day, it's what it is. But, to me, but also, more importantly, what he needs to do is not have all these meetings and meet with all these different departments. Why is he doing that? He should have somebody who goes to those meetings and can tell him all the stuff from those meetings in half an hour. Can tell him in half an hour. That's what he needs. He needs to totally focus on what he needs to do.
He needs to focus. That's the thing. And with these players, I think he needs really to work hard. It will be his biggest challenge so far to make them understand. I think a lot of these players are on the words of on the limit to uncoachable in a way, because they have been through so many managers. I think they listen in one ear and it goes out the other ear. So that's just the way it is. I feel a lot of these players have that attitude when it comes to new managers. We saw it on the Ralph Ragnick. It worked for 45 minutes and then it was over. So
it was. I was at the game, at that Ralph Ragnick game, and I was there, and it was so exciting, just to see United hem the team in. I think, was it Crystal Palace? I think it might have been Crystal Palace.
It was Palace, yes.
It was Palace,
And we hemmed them in, and then second half we just came back and sat back in our own half. Like, it was crazy, it was crazy. And we're like, what the hell is going on? Now, I understand, even then, the physicality, they don't have the fitness and conditioning to be able to do that. It's a gradual process, to get that.
But Amorim said so today, that you don't have the physicality. You think it's for real, or this is just a tactical move?
No. I genuinely don't. Look, remember, Ollie tried. Tried. Ranieri then did it for 45 minutes, and they were like, oh, we can't do it. Remember, Ollie tried against Liverpool. I was at that game. Liverpool at home. Jurgen Klopp, first time he faced him, we had 4 muscular injuries within 40 minutes. Remember, Lingard, Rashford. Rashford actually played on. A couple of other people came off. I don't know who they were, but they came off. I think it might have been Herrera. Andres Herrera and Lingard definitely were 2 who came off. So you can't just introduce it. You need to introduce the training as well. But I'm going to stick to my guns. If you want anything to work with Amorim, we need to take a lot of short-term pain to get the long-term gain. And that means dumping out of the Europa League so he has more time, so the players are not flying. You can test out things in the 2 domestic cups. I mean, we got the game in the 19th, innit, to get us through to... Is that the quarter-final for the League Cup? December the 19th in London against Spurs. Yeah. So at the end of the day, you can try things in the FA Cup. He can work out. But I 100% believe, some people can shoot me down, that he needs to have time, because all he's going to get now when you play him every 3 days is recovery. And in that, the players are mentally tired from playing. So they're not taking in the information. as much as you are if you're taking them on a training ground and going, right, this is what we're repeating. Today we're going to show you this. Let's repeat this for the rest of the training session. Tomorrow, bring in a little bit more. Then the day after, bring in, and then we play a game. And then we see how those things work. Then they get the video analysis. Then go back to the training ground. So he needs to be able to do that. But if some of you are telling me, right, nobody's going to be successful at this football club. If he's not allowed to play the kids in the Europa League, and that meaning if he plays the kids, we're going to be out. For me, then nobody's going to fix this, because we have to have a fundamentally different shift where we move from being a commercial club, all about number crunching and numbers, and players who are big shirt sellers and all this and PR and the face of the club and all that BS, to move to being a real football club. That's what we're going to have to do. So that's why I do not want Europa League, get out, play the young kids, let's be finished wherever we get out, and then you then be able to see the difference. If you want the difference, the method that he works, I've read up on about certain clubs how he worked when he has time, and when him and his team have time on the training ground. It can work up to maybe 4 months it can take, and that can speed a lot of the process up. But there are players who cannot be coached. There are players, like you said, I mean, if anybody is out there, make sure you check out Soccernomics. It really explains to you how it works, and Stu, obviously, you've played and you understand. And it's like everything in life. A young person learns quicker, whether it's language, whether it's maths, whether it's... The older person will have to really focus and put the time in. But with younger people, and what you're then talking about is younger footballers that want to make it, that want to be successful. So they're going to be eating, like, every word he says, they're going to be like, oh, yes, like, this is it. And they follow the coach. That's why, you know, Van Gaal, everywhere he went, he's a very methodical kind of coach. Everywhere he went, he cleared out older players. Philip Lahm at Bayern Munich, he put him in the team. I think it was Puyol when he was at Barcelona. He bought through Puyol. Like, you know, here, Rashford, you know what I mean? There's different types of players. And, yeah, there are certain players that, for me, it's too late now. It's very much too late, because they've had four or 5 or 6 coaches. And actually, sometimes the first coach is the most influential coach on you, because he's the one that gave you the information. And at the critical moments, like all human beings, footballers are creature habits on the football pitch. They will fall back to the way they were told. Their instincts will force them. Their muscle memory will force them to the older, until you have really obsessive people like Bielsa. And it's really fascinating, because people have taken the context out what he said. He said that decision-making is not something that at this level that they should already have. People have taken that time step by fucking 1,000 and said, he's saying we can't coach them. What are you on about? So what's the point of him being here then? We might as well give the job to Dan Ashworth and Omar Barada. Like, people are using that to try to beat me like a stick to beat me with. It's not about the coaching. It is. The more you repeat, what you're told in training, the more it sticks, the more it sticks, the more it sticks. And the more you believe in it, the more it sticks, more it becomes second nature. And I have to explain to people, when I was in university, this while back now, they were developing techniques, such a positive self-imagery, where they can literally, you could sit there like they did it with Beckham. They took him to Loughborough University, which is a sports university in the UK. And they sat him on a couch, and they told him to imagine. They put all these different monitors to monitor his heart rate, to monitor the level of sweat, to monitor like the muscle twitchiness, all of that. And they could read it on a computer. And they said to him, close your eyes. They taught him through this technique where Beckham was basically visualizing him taking a free kick. And he's literally sitting down on the couch. All of the same things that will be twitching when he's on the football pitch was twitching. So don't tell me you can't coach. You can't tell players to visually, visualization is a key thing. So he needs the time on the training ground. And what I love about it is that actually they play true to their form. I mean, that was probably the worst game I've seen Eriksen have in a long, long time. I don't know what he was trying to do there. I don't know, maybe to show them that they can't play in his system. Maybe that's his way of saying to them, guys, you're backup. You're not the first team. You know what I mean? Like, and, you know, to try to, his system is exposing certain players. But you can coach the players. You can make it so that you make training fun and enjoyment and engaging. And then when they start doing it, they start to enjoy it. They start to like it. And if you've ever coached or helped coaching, you see that. You see their clocks. You see the level of enthusiasm. So yeah, that's my 2 pence.
So Nuruddin, it's funny you mentioned that because before you came in, you know, I was saying that in response to Jarvis's question that sometimes there's a period of unlearning that needs to happen to these players, and you know the concept of muscle memory. It's like literally the ability to repeat something specific that's within
10,000 times, I believe,
exactly.
to be a professional.
No, yeah. So this thing, like, take for example, this thing applies on an individual level and on a team level. If you take, for example, Manchester City when they won versus Inter Milan, that 1-0 in the Champions League final, the goal that they scored. You know how usually like Pep Guardiola tries to, like, you know, try something different every season, but in that moment, in that game, the way Rodri scored that goal, it was just muscle memory of a team.
There's some background, just to say, I can hear some feedback. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Is it just me?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Is it coming from school?
There's something that's open. There's a window.
Okay, you're breaking up a bit.
There's a window that's open. There's something that's open in somebody's computer.
Let me
just everybody mute 1 second. Everybody
let me mute myself for a second. Let's see if it's me.
Yeah, it's Pape.
It's me. No. I'm unmuted now. I don't know. Okay, it's gone. Anyway,
it's gone.
But I was talking about muscle memory, saying that, like, you know, the team has to just sort of like rebuild new repetition, build new patterns that they're not used to. So for example, that long ball, like hoofball moments, the few hoofball moments that we saw, where, say, for example, Dalot was already running in behind, all that stuff is because of the coaching that has existed before in the past regimes, past managers. So the team itself, on a team level, not just in an individual level, that needs to happen. That needs to happen for us to be able to actually see something that is now different, that is new. Bruno Fernandes needs to be taught, okay, if you hoof this ball, we're doing something. You're going to have to pay a fine. You're going to have to do something. You're going to have to do something different so that these guys, like, end up with fresh new ideas and actually learn how Amorim wants to play. What I saw that stood out to me, you know, when I think also Amorim talked about it, as some of the players were overthinking. I think they need to find joy in playing again. The midfield was sort of playing this hide and seek with the ball and not really showing for it as much as they should, or as much as they could. And that's part of it. I feel like some of them are going through this mentally, that I do not want to make a mistake. I do not want to be the first one to really mess up. So that itself, it deprives you from having fun. And if you're not having fun, it's very, very difficult to excel when you're not having fun. So they need to find the joy. They need to find the adventure again, and not be afraid to take risks and not be afraid to show up for the ball, especially looking at Casemiro and Eriksen. You know, that's sort of like what I wanted to share about that, saying that this repetition thing needs to be addressed.
Yeah, but it's interesting, and I think it's quite important, just as you mentioned, to have fun. You have to enjoy yourself, and you have to not think about the consequences, and you have to think about the performance, what you're doing is, and how to do it. You know, never focus on the consequences. I think then you have the wrong approach. I just want to share this with you guys because it's an article from a Norwegian newspaper about Bodø/Glimt, and these are the players before training, 9:30 in the morning, before they start the day, they go into they have a meditation session, and all the players just to rewind and come into concentration before they go out training. And you know, they are so unconventional about all the stuff they do. They have a fighter jet pilot called Sivert Mansberg, who came in as a mental coach and to learn them the ability how to think about performance. Don't give a fuck about the results and consequences. Always think about what to do next. That's the thing. And they have taken Bodø/Glimt from being a championship team in the Norwegian Premier and up into the Premier League, and now being the dominant force in the Norwegian Premier League for the last 5 to 6 seasons, and qualifying for Europa League, Conference League, going far into that tournament, playing quarterfinals and stuff like that. And it tells you a lot about how you can prepare for games and the mentality. And I think, as Papi mentions, you have to enjoy yourself, and this is the job I think Amorim really needs to work on. And maybe we should just hire some kind of a similar mental coach who can come in with unconventional ideas to get players to rewind. I don't know, Stu, what's your take on this?
Yeah, look, I find a lot of that quite interesting, listening to Nuruddin and Papi particularly. I can relate to what they're talking about muscle. And it's called muscle twitching, by the way. It's not muscle memory. It's actually called muscle twitching because each one of us on this panel has got a different timing in their muscles. There are certain muscles that are faster at twitching. There are certain muscles that are slower at twitching. I'm a slower twitch muscle, so I go for the more longevity rather than burst of power. And I don't think we've got an assessment. And I've mentioned this actually when I talk about Højlund and the pace that Rashford or Ahmad Garnacho have. Højlund's not as quick as them across the ground. He's quite quick, but he's not quicker. So he's almost in your medium twitch. Now people will laugh at that. I think we were fucking our fast twitch muscle, slow. It's massively prevalent in cycling. If you cycle or you know about cycling, you can talk about your longevity. But what the key element that both of them have spoken about for me is you're absolutely right about your very first coach that had an impact on you. He is the one that you can always relate to and will always relate to. Anything past that is all about advice. And, you know, people always say to me, coaches improve you, coaches don't, etc., etc. Actually, the only... that's brilliant. The actual reality of it is the only person who can prove you is you. I mean, that's real, and that's in every day, by the way. That's making our shows better. That's Pappy getting a smaller piece of broccoli because it was too big to get in his mouth. Everything that we do on our daily basis is all about improving. But you've got to listen and you've got to be able to absorb what you're being told. So what Nuruddin was talking about the evolution, he's not particularly talking about the evolution of coaching and the difference between coaching in, say, the 1950s to, where we are today in 2024, because the natural evolution is technology. That's your first thing. But actually, as I've said a million times, the basics of football just hasn't changed. It's still 11v11, 2 nets, 4 corner flags and a football in the middle. It's just the technology side of it that's changed. And football is all about brain. It's all about brain, vision, hearing, and anticipation. That's what football's about. You get the ball, you're anticipating a pass, so you're ready for it. And if it doesn't come, it doesn't matter. You move yourself into a position where you're ready again. It's called anticipation in the game. A lot of people don't get it, don't understand it. People don't like 2-yard passes. Sometimes, Rodri is one of the best in the world at the moment. He only ever passes 2, 3, 4 yards. Might do the odd 20-yard pass now and again, but his mainstay is 2, 3, 4 yards. But he's always in the right position to receive. Always in the right position to give. We don't get that. We don't have that player anymore. Roy Keane was very good at it. Win the ball, move it. Kante, win the ball, move it. but receive, and they don't run around. Rodri hardly runs; he walks around. You know, the Great Dane, Jan Molby, another one. He just used to just walk around in circles, but he was absolutely pivotal to the way Liverpool played in the 80s. And so when it comes to coaching, I've said this before, people say
always in the center circle.
He was.
Always.
And people always come out
center circle.
People always come out and say, "Oh, it's coaching, it's coaching, it's coaching." And Nuruddin and Pappy, you've just hit the nail on the fucking head. It's a bit about coaching, but it's about understanding and relating. That's the real key to football: understanding first and foremost, and relating first and foremost to any instructions that may or may not be given. And then it allows you to say, well, actually, Gaffer, I tried what you told me to do. I tried where you wanted me to be, and I was getting closed down. So I made the conscious decision not to run into that area. So I made myself more available. And then, you know, it's a two-way conversation. But these guys, and again, you know, Nuruddin's right. He's not saying that these guys don't know what they're doing. You know, it's the fact that they're not, maybe they're not willing to accept change. I don't know. We're not in that dressing room, are we? But football's all about excitement. It is about smiling. It is about laughing. It is about getting up on a match day and thinking, fucking hell, yes. Me and the lads, we were in match week this week. So we're talking about it already. We know who we're playing, and we're talking about it, you know, in our little WhatsApp group. You know, how's your knee, or what, you know, what are we expecting this weekend? We go on Thursday, we have a final training session. The gaffer will talk about certain things. We'll give our feedback about what happened last season when we played them at their place. You know, what we liked about the game, what we didn't like about the game, you know, where we were short, where we can improve. And we talk about this as a collective group. And then we go out and we put that, what I call, into practice. But the key thing is, and this is where Ipswich, and I've heard Pappy and Nuruddin talk about this a lot, and I really do agree, by the way. This is where sometimes teams like Ipswich, they play to a certain pattern, but they play as well to the game. They play as how the game evolves in front of them. And we don't do that. And that's why they're able to push us back. That's why they're able to get that little bit more aggressive. And that's what football's about, lads. You know, that's the beauty of football. That's why we love talking about it week in, week out. And, you know, there's always something you can talk about a game of football, isn't there? Something happens. Yeah. And it's nuts. It's nuts. Football's been going on for a century now. And, you know, and it's nuts that this little small piece of ground, I know it's not a small piece of ground, it's just a metaphor, you know, with 22 players running around chasing a bag of air or pigskin as it was back in the day, but we can still talk about it, we can still offer an opinion. I kind of agree with Nuruddin. Does it mean that we do sacrifice Europe? Because he does need time on the training ground, Amorim, absolutely right. Progressing in Europe, will that hurt Amorim in the long run? It probably will, but he's already made that very, very clear. I'm telling you guys now, I'm telling the fan base now that here's where we are, and you've got to give me that time. You've got to help, you've got to support me. And I want our fan base to do that. I listen to your shows again, Nuruddin and Pappy's, you know, and you know, fans are coming in, they're having a pop already and stuff of this nature. Put yourself in the position that you're all footballers. You all love the game, whether you're playing a Wednesday night with your mates at five-a-side, it doesn't matter. Or you play professional football, it doesn't matter. The excitement you get getting your kit together. I'm 54 years old, right? And my bag, I pack my football bag every Saturday night at clockwork, 7 o'clock, and I leave it by the door ready. If I don't play on a Saturday, it's a Sunday game. If I play on a Saturday, it's Friday, clockwork, 7 o'clock, and it's by the door. I get so excited still to this day, and I can't wait. And the travelling over to the game, the banter on the coach on the way to the game, play the game, the banter in the changing room, you know, before the game. Then all of a sudden, half an hour to go, bang, dead silence. You walk out. you do your warm up. We only warm up for about 15 minutes at our age. Then you come back. Well, you see,
and you're good to go.
You come back in, you have your last talk, and then you go out. You line up in the tunnel, and that's when you just everything comes down. The blinkers go on, and you're not fucking. You don't listen to anyone else then until you go out and you play it. So, and that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty.
That's the beauty of football, and I totally get what you're saying.
Like anyway.
And I feel the same when I used to play football. Now I stopped. It's like I haven't been playing for 6 years, I believe. So yeah, it's I miss it. I really miss it. That
Get back
all
to
those
playing
small things. Yeah. Neil Driscoll also agrees. He comes in to tell me something I don't know, and yeah. It's about football. I just want to bring it back to the game yesterday and go a little bit through the tactical things because we saw yesterday a couple of things in Amorim's system. We saw the licht because we know we play with the back three. We saw the back three is here. We saw the licht moving up into the central DM position with Casemiro. Eriksen wandering off a little bit higher. Garnacho even higher again. He was almost higher than Rashford, as you guys can see here, because this is the average position of the game. I don't know if you saw this, but you have the Garnacho is here, left attacking midfielder. He's actually higher up the pitch than Rashford. So in a way, that's how he set up. So yesterday, what happened sometimes, the Ligt moved up. Leicester were not particularly pressing us hard, but when the trigger points happened, trigger points is when you see a situation and you know when to act. They saw a trigger point, for example, if Masraoui had the ball, played it to Onana, then played it to Evans, and that was usually the trigger point. They started chasing, and for example, it's the way you press. You go like this. You cut off because you don't press right on. You cut off the passing ability back to the goalkeeper, and you cut the pitch in half, and you move on. And Leicester were really good at Ipswich was really good at this. So they moved every player on to us. So we had really little space in this area. You could see a lot of players pushing on. So that was the problem. And Evans, he's not good under pressure. He played the ball to Dalot, so Dalot had basically a chance he could try to take on his man or flick it in to Eriksen or Garnacho, and they won it back again over and over again. And this is where I want to see both positionally better players, because players like Casemiro, for example, needs to be available. Dalot needs to be available. They need to open up space for each other. What happened on the goal? Actually, Bruno dropped down, ran out of the area. Same with Eriksen. So they dragged players with them and opened up space for Casemiro to find Ahmad again, and so on. You if you go back and see the goal, you see the movement from Eriksen, from Bruno. But we didn't know how to do it, and then also another thing is
just a minor correction, Jarvis. It was Bruno actually. Bruno was near Ahmad, and what happened? Bruno was on the halfway line. The centre back didn't jump, so the centre back should have pressed him, but he looks over his shoulder and it's about 10 yards space.
But they were really high up the pitch.
Yeah. So then he drops to Ahmad right there, and Ahmad, he plays the 1-2. Ahmad then goes on that.
I know, but I'm just making it as an illustration now because we are on the left side. But yeah, I agree. You are right, Noradin. But it's hard for the centre backs to commit high up the pitch. You always see the centre backs get really insecure when you go into the last third of the pitch. They don't want to be there. So. But what we need to improve when we talked about the pivot, Casemiro, Eriksen, they need to want the ball. They need to shout for the ball. They need to play under pressure. They need to be tough enough mentally to receive the ball. And you talk about repetition, patterns nor in training. But I don't think you can train on this. You have to play the game, and you have to be tough enough to have the courage to want the ball under pressure. Even if you're marked, you have to shout for the ball, because at least it will attract opposition players tighter to you, so you will open up more space for your fellow teammates. And if Eriksen do the same, for example, you will at least give Evans a little bit more space. Maybe there's room for Rashford to drop down to receive the ball. There's several ways to solve this, but you have to be tough enough. You have to want the ball. You need to be able to want the ball. And if you don't, if the players are cowards, then we see similar like yesterday's performance. We get locked down by the opposition. Leicester is not a extreme good pressing team, but you saw those young kids, the Lap, other I don't know all of their names,
Hutchinson,
but
Hutchinson, yeah,
they were really good. And in this, but it's basics, and this is where Amorim needs to improve their mentality of the game. That's why I'm talking about the mentality of the game. So, Stu, do you have anything to say about this? Did you see this?
Yeah, I did. I know Nora didn't want to come in, but just briefly, you know what our biggest problem is? We don't shield the ball. So we don't shield the player. That's our biggest issue. And so what you've demonstrated there's 2 or 3 things could have happened with Evans, but all Casemiro's got to do is go ahead and shield the ball. You got to stop the player moving into Evans's position. That's what you have to do. You're right about Delap. Delap's main press isn't Evans. It's actually between Evans and Onana. That's your main press. That's zonal pressing. We talk about it all the time. Mm-hmm. And then Casemiro, instead of being static, has got to move in. So when he sees a player going towards Evans, you go and you take that player out. You block Evans, you block the run. So it should give Evans those 2 or 3 yards to manoeuvre to flip the ball out to I don't know, Ahmad as an example. Copy or pass to Ahmad and we're away. And that's how you basically in 2 moves eradicate that issue. That's how you do it. I'm sorry, it sounds easy. I know people in the VAR room, it does sound easy. And it is. I'm sorry. It is. You don't, because there's 2 things will happen. If Casemiro is being marked and he goes towards whoever it may be, to say Hutchinson, for example, right, and he gets in front of Hutchinson before Evans even gets to Evans, he's going to be followed as well. But Evans will still have that 2 yards to deal with the football. And then it enables you to stretch the play. It's not hard. It's basic football, Jarvis. Sorry, I
will let Nordin speak. I just want to clarify something. When we saw, for example, this Serbian football, the reason why we want to play like this dilly-dallying on the ball, and we want to invite pressure because we want to open up the space in behind this space, and we want the opposition team, Ipswich, to come up on the pitch and put us under pressure. And you saw that we were better on the ball. We tried, but we didn't have the ability. We didn't know what to do in the specific moments. But the Serbi, he used to do it with McAllister and Caicedo. They used to shift. And that was the box opener always. They used to shift. But they did it with intensity, when you shift, bam.
But Jarvis, isn't the bigger question then? Why can't we do that? Why can't we see that as players?
Yeah, the headline of the show is lack of intensity. Yeah, that was Amorim. He wanted intensity.
Why can't the players see that though? What's happening that the players can't identify what we can see quite easily? That's what I don't get.
That's a really good question. Let Noradin answer that.
Yeah, because that's not what's been demanded. I'm going to put that myself on it. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. The demand has not been there. Manchester United has been a joke of a club where people come to get paid. That's where we're at. Because you don't have to do too much. Nobody's coming in and demanding these things of you. So it's not that type of a club, even though with things that maybe we'll try to change, but the change can't be small bits here and there. It's got to be a complete fucking change. We need to go back from being a commercial football club to being a football club. And for that, you're going to need some real footballers. You're going to need people who are going to get it quickly and who are going to understand quickly. I did definitely think that starting Eriksen, and I mean, it could be so many things. Obviously, we had problems at the back, but just to be able to, if you bring the ball back up, Jarvis, just be able to play in a system. To be able to play in a system, you have to have the two midfielders need to be physically and technically sound. They have to be. They have to have lungs. They have to have 3 lungs. They have to be able to move. And then the left back, the left centre half and the right centre half also have to move. And everybody, when one person commits, when somebody does a trigger, you don't hold back. Everybody goes. Once you get that trigger, everybody has to. And that's what he was talking about in his press conference. He said at the end of his team, when some person has gotten the ball here, somebody's pressing here, every player, the other 9 players on the football pitch will have to know exactly what to do. Everybody knows what to do. So that's what he was alluding to. And at times we didn't do that. We were getting caught halfway. People didn't. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how this develops. But the mobility of the left centre half and the right centre half and the 2 in midfield is the most paramount. Those 4 people have to be real athletes. The centre half, yes, he's got to be good on the ball as well, and he has to be an athlete as well. But for the system to function, those 5 players, forget the wing backs, the 5 players in central areas have to be people who can move. If you haven't got that, they have to have the technical ability, the thinking fast. I think if you got the conditioning, the physicality, the intent, I think you think faster as well. You know, any of you can talk about when you were ever peak, when you peaked as a footballer or peaked as whatever you were doing. You understand when you're in that, when you have that flow energy. So for me, it was almost kind of like picking Johnny Evans to Casemiro and Eriksen. No way you're gonna do. Tactically, though, what I found really interesting, because in the first half, Ipswich were risking it. So they were risking it. They were leaving man on man around the back because and the reason why we went through them in the first minutes was because they were playing man for man. When they press that hard, they're pressing very aggressive. They're pressing very like man for man. So once their centre half didn't commit to Bruno dropped into that space and let Eriksen go. Boom. Let Ahmad go. Ahmad could go then. And
they did just a simple 1-2, and
because that's what happened with zonal, with man to man. You are risk because in football usually you're coached to always have 1+. You know what I mean? Not everybody commits, but 6 or 7 commit, and then you have 3 in the rest defense. You know what I mean? And then you still got 1+1. Do you know what I mean? That's how you use it to kind of like in a defensive shape. But it's fascinating for me, like that second half, they were like, "No, we're not going to risk it. We're not going to risk it. We still think we can open you up. We know that you can't break teams down. We know that Manchester United struggle with that. So we're going to just get in our shape." They actually, at times, they were mid to low and sometimes mid to high a little bit. They were just mid. But majority in the second half, if you watch the second half again, they went mid to lower block. And they just kept their shape. And they just, and they just set the traps. They're very good at the transition. So they set the traps, and then they were about to just go and use that as a trigger. And we were huffing and puffing and passing the ball around the back. Nobody really can punch the ball into people who can receive it. And what Pape was saying, what Stu was saying about is simple. Like if you shield the ball, it's basic things that are coached to you. You have to be able to have the ability to be able to shield the ball. And if you can't, when your colleague or when your teammate is in trouble, you have to be able to show a certain way. And too many times, the so-called number 10s or the players up the pitch, Rashford, none of them. They almost, I find it really, and it is one of the big things that get on my goat. When I used to play football in midfield, if the striker show for it, usually that gesture is here, to feet. You know what I mean? Here.
Mm.
But if they never used to come, if they're not making that 1-2 step, if they're sitting behind, then we would have the different hand gestures. We used to go like that. You know what I mean? They would do this. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I knew then, right, I'm gonna pretend to give it to feet, but they're gonna spin up in behind, and I'm gonna get that ball high, and hopefully they can then run onto it. But if they do this and come towards the flipping ball, if they don't have 1, 2, 3 step gesturing where the defender is nowhere can get in front of them, then I would give them the ball. But if they just stood flat and expect them to pass them, I'm like, fuck off. By the time the ball gets to you, the defender already reached it and he's there. And well, now I'm in trouble. Like, the whole team's in a movement, especially when you're playing out from the midfield. So yesterday, if any of you watched the game again, you see too many times players are on their fucking heels. You have to come to the ball. You have to gesture towards the ball. You have to be on your toes to come forward and get the ball and get off your marker. That's what you do. You get off your marker. That's what you do with coach. Get off your marker. Don't.
But we saw Amorin do this in training with Kobe Mainu. He asked him how to make himself a little bit of space. You saw it instructing him. So we know that Amorim is aware of this. So we are back to, it will take time to coach these players. Good points. I just want to bring in Poppy before we go to the Q&A session. Poppy, you saw yesterday, I think we struggled a little bit in our press play because we overcommit sometimes. We go too high, but we don't have the intensity in pressing, and sometimes we don't press at all. You know, we are easily overplayed with the front three that are pressing. Why do you think that's the problem? Do you think it's Rashford, or will it be better if we have Højlund in, or why do you think it's a problem?
I think it's more to do with our defense. So right now in that picture that you showed, we saw for large periods of the games that what's his name? De Ligt was the central striker, and Johnny Evans was the left-sided center back. Right? I mean, central defender, and then Johnny Evans was the left center back. And De Ligt, in my opinion, has slightly better passing than Johnny Evans, like line-breaking passes. De Ligt is a little bit more press-resistant than Johnny Evans. So for me, I think there was a few things that could have been done to tighten up that, right? Put De Ligt on left center back. Let Johnny Evans be the central striker. Then that way you might actually, all this is obviously easy to say in hindsight, but you might actually see less passes backwards, less safer passes, and actually more passes that are trying to break through the lines. Because Ipswich pressed us for lots of times in the game, and as Nuruddin was talking, sometimes, especially, there'd be moments where they sort of let us have the ball and not really try and give us a lot of trouble pressing. But a lot of this progressing the ball from the defenders to the midfield could have been easily, obviously, done if Lisandro Martinez was there, right? The other thing is Ugarte. Obviously, I feel like he's more mobile than Eriksen. Ugarte maybe would have even probably been somebody that would have been able to sort of do the same thing that you were just talking about, Jarvis, the lesson that he was giving Kobe Maino, that, pretend that you're going this way and then show for the ball. Use the same, I like the non-verbal communication that Nuruddin is talking about right now, because it's like what we want the team to eventually be, so you know exactly what your teammate is going to do before they do it. That's the whole trick. That's how you make football simple. You have to be synchronized with the teammate so that the moment they're doing something, you already
good footballers, really good footballers understand this.
Yeah. So those events are not happening at the same time as you seeing them with the opponents, because guess what? If they will obviously be able to deal with the problem if you're seeing the decision from your teammate at the same time as your opponent is going to be there and close you down quickly, So I think in terms of ball progression, I would have, Martinez and Ugarte being there would have tightened up the press a little bit more, tightened up our ball progression a little bit more, but we all know that obviously Ugarte is not such a prolific passer. So that part, I don't know exactly how he would have dealt with it, having all the Ipswich players around, Burns, Morrissey, but one thing is for sure that is clear is that Evans had a hard time with Omari Hutchinson, and that is a big part of why Ipswich were able to sort of sometimes give us so many problems.
He exploited the combination, the partnership of Dallow and Evans, because he wandered a little bit left and were in between those two guys, and they couldn't quite make up their mind who to mark him and what to do with him. And even Casemiro had struggled really, moving his feet to move out quick enough to block him off. And that was the biggest issues.
You got to take him out. We see that and we're struggling into that. I'll just deal with him. Bang, next. And that's what you have to do in football. Sometimes you got to look at the players.
If someone should do it, it's Casemiro.
Yeah, and just get rid of him.
It's one of his strengths. Just like boom, take out the player.
Swat him aside like a little gnat, and see what he's got. See if he'll come back at you, and if he comes back at you, do it again, and then see what. And then you might have to change your game to to work with him. So but that's how you do it with Hutchinson. Plus, Evans just isn't mobile. Hutchinson's actually, it wasn't even clever play by Hutchinson. It was just him using, realizing he'll get the better of Evans every time. It wasn't even clever play. I'm quicker than you. I'm more skillful than you. I'm smaller than you. I'm a problem for you. And Rose head. It's what you've got to do occasionally. We don't do enough with Phil Foden in this league.
No.
Bernardo Silva, strong player, but you don't do it enough with these players. And that's gone out the game. The nasty side has gone out the game, and we're just not nasty enough. We just aren't.
Okay.
This one. Go ahead.
No. I just worry about time. I see we've been doing 2 hours, so we have about 15 minutes. If that's okay for you, we can do it.
I've got about 15. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll hand over duties to Pappy tonight, and then if you can then overrun, and I can.
No. You are the Q&A master.
So you drive. You got
it. If you leave, Pappy will take over.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I've got till about 1:15. Yeah, I've got till about 1:15. Yeah.
Okay. Q&A jingle.
You don't have to answer the question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Love that jingle, Jarvis. Love that jingle. Yes. What we need to do is get a nice piece of broccoli coming up, very slowly from the bottom of the screen, and then Pappy's little face on it, when it gets in there, something like that would be absolutely brilliant. Pappy Eats, that's what we're going to call it. Pappy Eats. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed the show. I think it's been absolutely mint so far. Some of the comments have been brilliant. We've got 17 really good questions in. Well, we got some Trevor Wade questions, but we've got 17 decent questions there. So we'll get started with Trev with a sensible question. And I'm going to go to Pappy with this one. Let me get up on the screen. And the question is, do you think Mr. Amorin, after one game, is realizing he has a bigger job to do than he actually thought at first?
Definitely. I think this is even something that he might even continue to realize after 5 games, because let's not forget, these players I don't know why, but they sort of like, some of them are not as quick learners. They're not as they don't have the IQ, the football IQ that you'd expect from a Manchester United player. Amorim said, guys, it's yes, it's a new idea, but it's still simple. It's not rocket science. And some of them, we talked a little bit about the patterns that we keep on getting stuck in, and that's a consequence of obviously playing a type of way for a very long time. So I think he knows that, you know, there is a big long task ahead. He has to weed out players that are not able to eventually carry out their instructions or not able to take feedback. And you know, and some of it is actually, you know, players are just incapable, and then there's some where some players are still young. They need to actually learn. Like look at, for example, this image, the moment when Garnacho should have, you know, just find Ahmad. Just find Ahmad right there. You don't need to carry the ball into the box and then try and find him there, because guess what? The defender caught up with you. You know?
He did, yeah. He tackled him in the box, yeah.
Yeah. So and some of those fixes are not big fixes, but you know, it just depends on the players. And I think those type of moments, or rather the task that is at hand, like it's actually a big task, because he has to get rid of a lot of players to be able to really find the players that will want to play his way effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. Trev, I hope that's answered your question. Very well put, Pappy. Quick one for you, Nuruddin. It's I presume he's talking about the Aussie man, Osherman. How much to get him out of Turkey? I think he's got a release clause, hasn't he? I think he comes into play at the end of the season.
Yeah, but then would we make him any chances?
Yeah, well,
to bring the greatest strikers, will we make him chances? Actually, I'm going to go off that question. I watched him, I think, 2.5 games. I really, if he stays fit, Liam Delap has already got certain things that I don't see in any young strikers, and I'm not just trying to overhype him. Some of the stuff that he was doing yesterday, some of the stuff he did against Spurs, boy oh boy, he's doing it where strikers would, you know, need to learn years and years. Some of the things, I actually think he's got better attributes than Gorkas. I genuinely believe that he's got better attributes in terms of the way he plays. His core, he's got one of the strongest cores. That's why he can bounce people off him. And not even that, the touch, the intelligence, the decision-making at the right time, when to take it, when to pop it off, when then to open your body up. Oh, my God. There's so many things that he's already knows at 20 years. It's scary. It's scary. I'm gonna go out in the limb and say he is the future of English football in terms of it for England specifically. I think he's going to be the guy who stays fit to replace Harry Kane.
You heard it here. Yeah, okay. No, absolutely. I think Ottoman, isn't it 62 mil he's got in his escape clause, something like that. Anyway, Madhouse, you're back with another question, so I'll give this one to Jarvis. It's a bit of a tricky one to answer, that one. But Jarvis, anyway, Madhouse would like to know, what is Rashford's key strengths?
Basketball.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's a very difficult question to answer, because I have to say I'm hypercritical to Rashford at the moment. He's putting in a stinker after stinker, so it's hard to see what's positive about Rashford at the moment. He scored a goal yesterday, and as I said on the Origin show and on the last Jarvis Corner, I think actually it's a possibility that we can use Rashford as the number 9, but he didn't do it yesterday. But he needs to run the channels. He needs to run the channels, make himself available. He had a couple of chances on transitions, but you see Rashford, he runs straight ahead. Sometimes he needs to understand. He needs to run the channels, drag the center defender with him, open up space because we play with wing backs who are on the left side with the right foot and on the right side with the left foot, so they are naturally cutting into the lane. And we saw this with Sporting Lisbon a lot of times. When the fullback cuts in, the striker Jokenes cuts out into the channel to open up space. And Rashford haven't understood this yet. I think it could be learned. Maybe he can learn this. But if he can do this, I think maybe he can be used as a striker. But
you won't as a 9. I don't think Rashford's got that in him, unfortunately.
Yeah, his hold-up play, and that's terrible. And I also think I saw yesterday, I think he's lost a touch of his pace, maybe 5%. So he's not as extreme when it comes to this as before. He still has pace, but it's not extreme.
Totally
Yesterday
agree.
was more evident. I think there's something wrong with him. That something's happened to him. I'm a believe something's happened to him. And I don't know if we're going to find out. Something's happened. We saw him doing a one-to-one training with a fitness coach when Rude was here.
Yeah,
he was training. The only game, and I repeat, the only game he's finished this season is the Liverpool game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
that is a lot. There is
injury.
something to do with his mobility. There's something
You're
going
right.
on with his mobility. Even the way he's running, it's not his natural stride. It's not.
I don't think he's recovered from his back injury from 3 seasons ago. And you can't always recover from it, from a back injury. So, Madhouse, 2 great questions. I hope that's answered the one. I'll take this question. This is from the United Football Way. This question is: can he turn Bruno back to where he was 3 seasons ago? There's a very simple answer to that one. United Football Way. Bruno's got to want to be that player again. That's the key. The coach won't do it. Bruno's got to want to be that player again. It's a very, very short and it's a very simple answer, I'm afraid. But I genuinely can tell you, he's got to want to be that player again. The one player, when Bruno walked through that door, if he wants him back to that level, he's got to want to do that. No coach on earth will regenerate him.
Apologies, just to add on this question.
Yeah, of course.
Bruno, I don't think can play in the number 10 on the Amorim system because you need to have the ability to be able to play in the pockets. You need to be able to receive the ball in the pockets. Bruno's not a guy that really likes the ball where somebody in his backside. I actually think one thing I've got to commend him for is that he actually ticked it. There were so many times where he could have spammed it, but he was giving it 5 yards. And that's why his passing stats are probably some of the best.
But he didn't carry it. He needs to carry it. That's what Amorim demands. He needs to carry the ball.
And that's what I'm saying to you. As a number 10, you need to be able to turn and have the skills to be able to, the dynamism to be able to dribble, Jarvis. And you don't. That's why the number 10s come short, get on the pocket, quick turns, turn their player even, carry the ball and run with it. He can't do that. That's not his game.
Correct.
He needs about 3-4 yard space to be able to play a ball through. And he did that. When he had a bit of time, he played it to Garnacho and nobody was there to help tap it in.
So the answer is?
Answer is, for me personally, in my humble opinion, and I'm a guy who's got FA coaching badge 1 and 2. I'm a civilian. I'm a civilian. So I don't think so. But it's my opinion. But like Stu says, anything's possible.
The playing as the number 8 or the sitting.
It's the willpower. It's the willpower. You have to want it. Yeah.
Pappy, quick one for you. It's more of a statement, this. From Welsh Girl 68. Good to have you again. Matt should be given a few games. I think he'll do quite well in the new system. What do you think?
Oh, 100%. Nuruddin was just saying Bruno is not so good in receiving the ball in the pockets. Mount is the person that can do that. Mount is somebody that, when he's available and when he's actually in form and believing in himself, you want him to be operating in the opposition's half spaces. And for me, like, he's that person that's going to just somehow just like find himself being in a starting lineup and probably the right-handed side of the 210s, of the 210s that Amorim plays with. So I really see Mount being able to also have the intelligence to, whenever the midfield is getting overpowered, to drop deep a little bit and help the 2/8s. He's somebody that I think will become more and more important for Ruben Amorim. He has to stay fit, and then everything else should fall into place.
Amorim himself has said he's an important player, or could be an important player, so I think it'll be interesting to see. Thank you very much for that, Pappy. Welsh Girl, I hope that answers your question. Jarvis, DZ, I'm going to go with. I don't know. If I butchered your name, D, apologies. Do you think Manchester United has spent 700 million on weak players or lazy players with no intensity? So the scouting don't know their job. Well, I think it's been proven that we've got a poor scouting system. Is Mazzari a bad player? Malacia, Ahmed Mount, Leacher, are these lazy players, Jarvis?
Ooh, that's actually a good question. We spend a lot of money, 700 million pounds. We have seen them play in other clubs. Masraoui, I think he's been brilliant. Our best player so far this season, I think so. Him and Ahmad. I think Ahmad's done well. Malacia has been injured, so it's hard to say. Mason Mount injury, Leacher injury. So we struggle with injuries, but lazy players. I think a lot of these players don't have the right attitude when it comes to winning. You know, from a sport psychology standpoint, it's not about just the willingness to run. You have to be willing to take out your man in a way and take the ball away from him, not just run up to him and press. You have to have the right mindset. That ball is mine. That's the thing. You have to do everything you can. Every trick in the book you have to use. Every dirty little trick, shithousery, roughness, aggression. You have to own that pitch. And I think this is what Amorim is addressing when he talks about intensity. I think he wants the players to have the right mindset, the right intensity, because we know our club history. Ferguson, as Noradin often say, the greatest sports psychologist of all time, and I think he was a master of finding the right trigger points to get the players to do this, and this is a big job for Amorim, because I wouldn't say lazy. I think that's the wrong type of word, but they need to adjust their attitude.
Well, yeah, D, I hope that answers your question. There's a bit of a follow-up, really, which I'll let Nuruddin answer. Barman is asking about, do we think these players are incapable of understanding the game due to a lack of football intelligence? I've spoken about it a lot, but yeah. So it's kind of an add-on.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are multiple different factors. I don't think it's just one thing. But yeah, some of them don't understand the game. And that's what he kept referring to. He already watched some of the games of Manchester United. He talked about understanding the game. He even talked about our youth team. He said they have to understand the game. What he means by that is to have the intelligence. I do think to make it as a footballer, you have to have a level of IQ. To make it at a top level, to be able to play as a professional, you have to have a level of, IQ. But it's then them willing to accept that responsibility, to use that and to prosper with the bits of that knowledge that you've gained, and to take in new information. And it's about that. We comes back to it. Some of those players have played with a lot of different managers. So for me, I think they're not understanding new, and some of them are not open to new. It's like any workplace. Some people are not. They're not open to new ideas. They might even want to force themselves. They're not open to new ideas. Yeah. And that's the most. You have to be able to be open to new ideas. And actually, sport, you should be excited of new ideas. You should be excited. You should be like, yeah, what does he want from me? What does he want from me? How's this going to make us better? I said it all along. Like, Manchester's not that big. There's something rotten at the football club. The football club was a football club that was almost like a family, and then overnight, two people leave, and it gets to the bankers had the wheel, and they turned it into a corporate cash cow.
Yeah, I don't care about anything, do they?
To get the culture back, that means everything they've touched, we're still feeling the repercussions of the decisions that were made. So that's why I'm saying now, let's go back to a football club. We can't do it half-heartedly. We can't do. You can't be half pregnant.
It's true. But the club has lost its identity. I mean, I had a text from the club the other day. Do I want to sell my Everton ticket? You know, and they know why, because I'll get face value for it, and they'll get double the value for it. It's just it is a business.
Wow.
It's all right.
Stu, can I get the next question because I have to leave after?
Yes, yeah. There's a couple of Trevorisms. So yeah, which is Stu still out of a Barbie marathon when he puts up his Christmas tree in December. I've escaped the Barbie one so far. We have a statement here from Dave. Or Dave, it's not about. Let's not talk about me. How about you? What do you think of me, Dave? We love you. I think. I think that's what you're looking for. We all love you. Pappy from Trev. Can Pappy show us his cooking techniques next week? And does he like spooning?
I got you, Trevor. I actually one time I did a watch along while I was still, making some food. I just took the computer to the kitchen and then, So
you must do that again, Pappy. You must do that again.
I got you, Trevor.
Another Trevorism is, can Stu sing us a song from his favourite boy band? I presume that is Westlife. I hear he's a crooner. I like to sing, Trev, but I'd like to keep it, I'd like to keep it in the walls of my pad, if you don't mind, pal. So we've got a couple of questions left. I just want to go through because I think we've covered some of them already. Let's have a look. So okay, just a quick one here. We've just covered this. Will Amorim run into problems with players' attitudes? I don't think he'll allow it. I think we spoke about it a bit earlier in the show, Trev. Just quick round robin with you guys. I don't think Amorim will just allow it. I think he'll buckle down on that.
I think the problem is if the players' attitude is a problem, they tend to throw their toys out of the pram and go on strike. And even though if Amorim is Ten Hag was kind of a strong leader in a way, but he met problems all the time with these players. Sancho, Ronaldo, De Gea, so it's not easy. And then I think Amorim will face a real challenge, his biggest challenge so far. He will run into problems with the players' attitude. I hope that he knows how to handle it well. That's the thing. Yeah.
Totally agree. A quick one from Alien Tenno for Jarvis. At -20 in Norway, would you piss out? Unbelievable.
No,
I don't think,
because you have too many clothes on. You like layers on layers, so it's impossible. It will take too long of a time. So you have to plan before you go outside.
Definitely. Right.
But you don't go outside in -20. You stay inside where it's comfy.
So question for each of you then, starting with Nuruddin. Question: when Onana is finally utilised as a sweeper keeper, what will our defence look like?
Good question.
It's a very good question. Difficult one to answer, I think. Now.
Yeah, at this moment in time, I can't see because we need to be able to have, like I said, I talked about that core middle. Two centre midfield players have to be very mobile. The three centre backs have to be very mobile. And I think that everybody has to squeeze up the pitch when we go for the full press. Then he'll have to come out and control 30, 40 yards of space. He'll have to play on that. He'll have to do the Neuer, Manuel Neuer. He'll have to keep positioning like them, sometimes 30, 40 yards out of his goal. And we have to make sure that nobody's got the time to look up and try to lob him. We have to make sure that, and that means then 9 players are pressing. 10 players are pressing in fully. Everybody understands. His kicking still crap, but at a moment in time, I'm fair. He's silencing me because without him, we get beat 4-1 on some yesterday. 4-1.
Oh God, yeah, definitely, totally agree. Steph, I hope that answers your question. It was a tricky one. Maybe ask that again in maybe 2-3 months' time. We'll have hopefully, I think we'll have a better better idea whether that will happen or not. A couple of questions to go. One for Pappy. Oh, sugar! I don't know what's happened there.
All right.
It's off Trev, and it's quite a good question from Trev. We have so many wingers, even our strikers are not out and out type number 9s. No wonder that we only play moments and cannot connect. So, do you think that is why we are goal shy constantly?
Trevor,
very good question. He's pulled out a good one there.
Yeah. That's a good question for me to exit on. So I think here's the thing. There is obviously we were playing a formation prior to Amorim. We were playing a formation that requires the traditional wing up. So Man United, as part of the teething process that we're going through, is figuring out which of those players can adapt to being played as wing backs, because that is a brand new, it's sort of like a new requirement now. And I love that Amorim has been singling out Ahmad, saying Ahmad has been improving defensively in training. He's wanting, you can tell that's his developmental project for Ahmad. So you know, the players that are not able to do that, they're gonna eventually have to leave the club. So I think, to answer the last part of your question, the reason why we're goal shy is because we don't have a pattern that the players know that this is our attack style, our attacking pattern. So until that is established, the goals are not going to come as easy. So we'll have the odd set piece goal, the odd goal from like, a counter-attacking situation, because obviously the other team also has to attack, or they have to have a corner kick in our half. So I think the goals will come. We will stop being goal shy the moment we have clear patterns. And then you can see it's part of what Amorim is trying to him and his coaches are trying to instill in our forwards. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, guys. I have to run. Gotta start a show on
well done, Pappy. Thank you for that, Paul.
Lovely conversation. We'll talk soon. All right.
Okay.
See you later, buddy. Thank you, Pappy. All the best. 2 questions to go. I'll just tackle this one very, very quickly. Do you think Amorim has the balls to bench Rashford if he continues to have bad performances, not scoring every 5 to 6 matches? In answer to your question, yes. I think Amorim would have no compunction benching Rashford. No problem whatsoever. And I think you're going to start to see players having to really fight for their starting berth. So, I really believe Amorim, no problem, he will do that. Thanks for that question, United Football Way. Final question tonight. We did have a question on Tuchel and Chelsea. Not ignoring you at all, who asked that, but we're kind of a Manchester United channel. A great question. It was a really good footballing question, but yeah, we answer Manchester United questions on here. Final question for you, Jarvis. Overhead kick TV. Should the United hierarchy reduce? I think it's a brilliant question as well, by the way. On the amount of media coverage to allow the football inside to concentrate on football rather than constant PR we see week in, week out. Obviously, Nuruddin touched on this earlier, but Jarvis, it's a good question. So you have the honour of answering the final question.
Overhead Kick TV. Great name, by the way. The United hierarchy should reduce the amount of media coverage. But then again, you have sponsorship deals, you have Adidas, you have all of this, and Sky, everybody with the TV deal. We get a lot of money. I think there's some obligations to do a certain amount of interviews. And we know our greedy owners, the Glazers, the 75%ers are sitting there and want as much coverage as possible because Man United are their milking cow in financially. So I think we have to go away from that part. I think we need to divorce the Glazers and try to look ahead and become a football club again and not a media circus. But it will take time. I think Amorim is right when he only will do post-match and pre-match interviews. I think that's enough. I think he should concentrate because he's the head coach. We have a system. We have Wilcox, we have Barada, we have Sir Jim can do interviews, and they can take their fair share of interviews and keep the media circus going. It's not have to be Amorin, but Amorim said himself he's done more interviews this week than he's full time at Sporting, so it will be a eye opener for him, and it's part of the job. And I think a lot of the structure of Man United demands this from their head coach or managers, if you want to call it. So it won't be easy, and it will take it will be a big distraction and take a lot of energy. It's just the way it is. And to be a Man United man, you just have to do it.
He's in for an eye opener because we're coming into the Christmas period, the busiest time for English football. We played Sunday, Thursday, Sunday. Are we back again on Thursday, Nuruddin? We must be. Yeah, we are Sunday.
Yeah.
And then, all this now up until Christmas.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday,
it's nuts, isn't it? And
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree. He's made that point, but you're in English football and, it is what it is. You've got to use to it. But he needs time on the training pitch for sure.
100%. And to me, what's more even worrying is the times that he's having to have meetings. Like, why should we go to these meetings and nothing to do with all these different departments? He's the first team coach. He should just focus on that.
Coach, get on that pitch. Yeah.
What the hell? What is he meeting these Muppets people about? Like, somebody should just come on. Somebody should go to all those meetings, summarize everything, half an hour chat.
Send him a memo.
Yeah,
not even that. Half an hour chat. Just show him this. This is what they're saying. You should maybe this is and that. No, yes, no, boom. See you later.
Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely crazy as a modern football. Guys, thank you very much for all your questions. We had 20 questions tonight. That's the most we've had in a long, long time. So I'm now going to hand you back to my old mate Jarvis to sign us off from this show.
Yay! I'm back.
He's back. He's back in the chair. The big man is back. Minus 20 outside. Look at
no. It's minus one outside. It's snowing lightly, so it's not too bad.
So it's warm.
I see Nuruddin is tired, so we gotta wrap it up. I just want to bring
so tired, guys. Honestly, I just like having a chat with you guys, but I'm so tired.
Nuruddin, I had a nap today, 2 hours nap. When I came home from work, I went down lay down on the couch, 2 hour nap. So yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
No.
Nothing wrong with
too ADHD for that to have a nap. My brain's just...
Well, I haven't had a nap in years, but today I was really tired. So yeah,
the body said, "Nah, rest."
It's true. Before we go, I just want to bring out some transfer rumors. Florian Plettenberg saying we are linked to Victor Boniface, one of many strikers on United shortlist. A sale would become only serious topic next summer. So this 23-year-old Nigerian striker playing with Bayer Leverkusen in the Bundesliga. He's one potential guy, and we talked about what's the guy in the Galatasaray? Osimhen. But this is the younger version. I think if we are going to sign a new striker, I think Boniface is much more likely. And I just want to bring out.
I actually don't rate him. I really don't rate him. I think his first touch is not that great.
Look at this then. Victor Boniface, 23 years old, 6'2.5". And this season, 10 games, scored 6 goals, 1 assist, and 1 goal in the Champions League in 3 games. And this is his FB referables. You see he scores high in everything that has with goals, from 99% down to 97%. Progressive carries, is a ball carrier, 2.44 each game. That's good. Successful take-ons, 1.5. It's in the 90 percentile. So he likes to dribble, and he has a lot of touches in the penalty box. So I think he could fit Ruben Amorim's system. So definitely a guy to look out for. So guys,
yeah. I don't. I see the way he plays. Maybe I just don't like that type of striker. Like there's something about him that I don't look at. It's the same thing with Gorkes. There's something about Gorkes that I just do not like. Like I'm not attracted to that type of strikers. You know, I like neat, tidy, technically very sound footballers on the ball. I want to see that first touch. I want to see the intelligence. I want to, you know what I mean? My standards of strikers are like, because I had the pleasure of growing up watching such an incredible.
Who was your favorite striker of all time in United? Was it Berbatov? Because when you mentioned people like technical,
he had velvet,
elegant.
No, because you know what? I'm gonna say Andy Cole. Do you know why?
Yeah,
he was a tapping merchant when he was at Newcastle. Beardsley, everybody, the whole team used to do the whole work and a tapping. Yeah. But the way he worked on his game at United, the way he improved. If you look at Andy Cole from season 1-2, and then you look at season 5-6, oh my God, you think that's totally two different players. And to be able to witness that journey, he had some of the quickest turns. Anytime a defender got on his back, he could spin them, like the way he just spin them. And then by the time the confidence was such a thing, he scored overhead kicks from mad angles, chips. He was doing all sorts of types of finishes, heads, diving headers, like just in terms of combination. But as a raw striker, Rude was just something else.
Oh,
like, Rude as a raw striker who just came and just was angry. United won 4-0 and he didn't get scored. He sulking off the pitch. Like as a pure hungry goal scorer, Rude was just unbelievable. And that you could put your life, the wife, the kids, the house. Rude's got to score this one.
What a striker.
Yeah. But to me, that the only thing why I don't really say Rude is because, to be fair, if you want the honest truth, he wanted to get out of here. After the season 2, he was like, I want to get out of here. He was always looking for that Real Madrid move. And that's hence why him and Fergie fell out. And then years later, he apologized to Fergie.
He didn't it last year? Or is it last year or the year before?
No, a couple of years. It was a couple of years they made up. A couple of years ago when they made up. Before lockdown, they made up.
He said he texted him, didn't he, to ask him if he could call him. And he said, yeah. And he phoned him and Fergie went, hello. And he was deadly quiet. Because he was, it's really interesting. I've interviewed Andy Cole a few times. I think he's the best exponent of back to goal football. I think he's absolutely brilliant, brilliant exponent of how to play on the shoulder and how to turn and swivel. Absolutely brilliant. But he'll tell you himself, it was him. He would work at his game constantly. Every day he would work at his game. Same when Yorkie came, they would work constantly together. And it's right, the old Sheringham, he hated Sheringham.
Yeah, but we know the story why, because he just didn't want to shake hands with him when he was coming on.
That's it.
And then that was the big disrespect. To be fair, in international football, that's one of the biggest disrespect. You are a player's coming on. It's not just a guy off the fucking street. A player's coming on. And when you disrespect somebody like that.
Coley would always say, and I've interviewed Sheringham a couple of times as well, and I asked them about it, and they'd always say, when you're on that pitch, mattered not. We'd talk.
I mean, Fergie, that's what Fergie said to them. Fergie would say, oh, you don't get on with each other. I don't give a F. When you're on that, you've got to celebrate with each other. If you have to fake it, fake it. I don't care. I don't care. And to be fair, that's what the idea of a team is.
Yeah.
I agree. Stu, I know we finished the Q&A session, but the United Football Way comes in with a late one. So quick answer. Will Xerxes come good?
Yes.
I think he will, yeah.
Nordin?
I 100% believe he just needs... I want those people who are doubting him to go and look at what happened to Patrice Evra. I was at the Etihad. I was at the derby where Patrice Evra made his debut. Look what Trevor Sinclair did to him. We were all like, what the hell who's this guy? Who's this weakened? Who's this weak little left back that can't even handle any little bit of physicality? And look what happened.
Vidic destroyed at Liverpool.
Yeah.
At Old Trafford.
Paddy Evra became a legend.
Yeah. He'll come good.
Okay. That's the end of the show. I just want to thank the United Football Way for gifting 20 MUFC Realist TV memberships and want to play for the same, thank you guys for supporting the channel. I want to thank people who contributed with the questions: Trevor Wade, Madhouse, United Football Way, Welsh Girl, DC, Bauman Wizard, Stephanie, all of you legends, the overhead.
Don't forget Trev.
Yeah, and Trev, yeah, Alien Tenno, and Lucky Singh for all his comments. People, thank you for staying with us for 2 hours, 34 minutes, and 30 seconds. It's been a pleasure to have you on, and thank you to Jimmy for coming on, and thank you for Poppy for coming on, and of course, Mr. Structure, Nuruddin, United Real Therapy. If you haven't, go subscribe to his channel and tune in whenever you do a show. And my co-host on my left, Mr. Stu Woolley.
Always a pleasure.
For contributing, and we will see you next Monday at 9 p.m. Have a good one. Good night.
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.